The following is a presentation of 3KG Community Broadcasting.
Good evening and welcome to the 3KG Coach's Cage Show. Here live from Arnie's Pizzeria in Rensselaer. And we've got a good representation of our local area coaches. Most everybody's going to wrap up the seasons here tonight. We will have some. We've kind of changed our plans a little bit. And one thing we've been able to adapt, and we're going to be back next week for one more go around with some of the sectional winners. And, North White coaches couldn't get here tonight, so we'll have a good show then, and we have a little bit more time to talk to our guys today. Joining us now, kick us off, will be Trent Fagley, the first-year coach of Frontier High School. 7-16 were the Falcons this year. Coach, what was your overall impression of taking the head job and running with it? And I mean, we'll talk about a lot of things, your sectionals and, looking forward to next year. But just if you give an overall picture of jumping in as a head coach. I know you coached a lot on the Rensselaer staff, and so it's not like you're, never coached basketball, and you've had a great background in it. Your years playing for Rensselaer Central. But how about that first year?
Yeah, it was a lot different, right? You're coming into a new system where you don't necessarily really know what backing you're going to have, how the program works. And honestly, we came into it knowing that it was going to be a rebuild year, get as much as we could out of it, knowing we had a couple guys coming back. Didn't play a lot of time last year. I think Drew Turner was about the only one that had significant minutes from last year's team. Colton DeLosh a little bit too, one of our seniors. But coming in, just kind of figure out who my leaders are, what their skill sets are, what offense is going to fit for them, what defense is going to fit for them, like as we start to pick through those things. And then when you jump into the early season, kind of like we did when you have BC, Carroll, Tri-Central, Rossville, like you kind of get thrown into the fire right away. And the team that I played with in our first summer league game as compared to the team I put on the court in the sectional, it was not anything that we thought it would be, right? We were losing some guys stepped up. Like, it was a huge shuffle to where we didn't have the same starting lineup as the summer. We didn't have the same bench guys as the summer. We got a kid that came into us that moved back to Frontier that lived in Brookston right before the season, so what we did over the summer honestly didn't translate hardly at all. I mean, skill-wise it did, but as far as like lineup and what we were looking for, we didn't really see a lot of transition rollover.
A lot of changes on the fly then, huh?
A ton of changes, and especially we're such a young group. We've talked about that all year. Like, as we started to go through, these freshmen picked up a lot quicker than I thought they would, and then we started pulling them a couple more minutes, and then we needed some buckets, so we started to get a couple guys that could score from the JV team and pulling them forward. And so as a whole, I would say we kind of got what we wanted out of the year. We got kind of new culture put in place. We got a little bit of the mental side of it taken care of, right? That's the toughest part we've talked about with young kids, is keeping them locked in as a team. We grew in skill, but it's a very, very tough thing to do, to build skill during the season, because you're trying to scheme for games. You're trying to figure out all the team stuff when you can't really build skill right there, but we had to get to certain spots that we needed to. So I'm looking forward to having this full summer to be able to build with these guys and know who I have and know who's coming up. And we return a lot, so we're excited about it. But, yeah, year one couldn't have been better. My support with my AD and my principal and everybody's great. Parents were fantastic. And the kids, obviously, we all want to win. We love winning. But this group of kids is some of the best kids I've ever been around. I don't have any troublemakers. I don't have anybody that's a pain to be around. I don't have anybody that gives their parents problems, so it's a good group
big,
to be
isn't
around.
it?
It's huge. I mean, it's completely different. I mean, most schools or most places you're going to have a couple kids that rub people the wrong way. You have to corral them in practice. I don't have that. Okay, and so that's what we've been working on this year, is maybe, honestly, we probably could use a little more edge. You know what I mean? And we talk about that sometimes. Like, to win and get yourself to the next level, you got to find a way to have some edge on the court and then be the same person you are off the court. I'm not saying you got to be a jerk, but you got to have a little bit of competitive edge to you, and that's what we're working on. And it got a lot better as the year went on, but yeah, I couldn't be happier with them making the move.
Let's talk about the sectional game.
Sectional game. We thought we had a pretty good plan in place. We knew that we had a very tough task coming
Who'd you
against
play?
Tri-County. We played against Tri-County. We knew we didn't match their size, so we had to come out and do things a little differently. So we came out early, and we had a couple sets that we really, really liked that we came out and we'd been working on. And all we talked about all week was they're going to come out in man. And if we can come out there and get them to go into zone, I think that we'll be all right. And then we came out. We went up 8-0, working like a charm. He went 2-3. He made the adjustment, and their length just bothered us, and we could never get going in that zone. If we could have, we probably could have kept it a little closer. But, I mean, the guys battled their butts off. We could not get anything going inside with that zone. And, credit to them. They're long, and they can run you off the three-point line. But if they would have had to stay in man, I think we would have liked that a little better. But we really had played so well the last couple of weeks against zone that we were honestly – trying to find a way to push them into zone. It worked, and then
it didn't work.
It didn't work, right? We got the look we wanted, and then didn't execute.
Yeah. Did the Baylor kid hurt you? I think
he did. He did.
Came on strong at the sectional.
First game, I think he had 6 or 8 points against us, and was kind of a non-factor in that game. And then coming out in that second one, he took over the basketball game. And honestly, and I've talked to Drew Turner, and as the number 23 on our team. Fantastic player, had a huge year, and honestly, I mean, he just had no answer for him that night, right? The first game, Drew was able to kind of have his way, and that's what basketball is. You get back and forth, and Drew kind of did what he wanted to do the first matchup. And the second matchup, it's just, Baylor he had it going. He could get to the rim. He was going down the baseline and finishing. He was hitting jump shots, and we went man to try and keep him out of the lane, and he's a load.
Yeah,
he's a good player, and he gave us a lot of problems.
All right, let's talk about when you wrap things up. We give you time to talk about your seniors.
Yeah, so seniors, I had 3 of them this year. One of them had been Colton DeLosh. He started for us. He was a point guard, shooting guard. Good a kid as you can ask for. Plays harder than anybody. Doesn't say a word. Just very, very quiet, respectful kid. You think almost that he's kind of standoffish, but then whenever we go to run something, he'll walk over real quietly and tell somebody what to do. Like, he knows more than everybody else. He's just not a vocal kid, but he was fantastic for us. AJ Wilson's one of the bigs on our team. He's another senior. Just great leader for us. The guys look up to him and all that stuff. And AJ had a good year, right? He was great for us in practice. He pushed the guys. And then the last one would have been Javian Gibbs. He played a lot of JV for us this year. But we kind of gave him the option at the end of the year. Hey, we want you around. If you want to be around, we want you here, right? And to his credit, he took that wholeheartedly and said, I'm in. I want to be here. And then that kind of culminated into kind of a cool little way we ended the year. Senior night, we started him in the varsity game. Played about a minute or two and then came out. Everybody gave the cheer for him. Then we put him back in with about a minute to go, and he ended up hitting a three-pointer from the top of the key. So That's one in his career. So that was cool to see JV and get to hit that, and that was something he'll remember forever. I mean, that's what we do. So losing that group of seniors, one of them, like I said, JV, one of them was huge in practice for us, and then one of them played point guard for us. So when you look at that, you'd like to think that moving into next year, we should be set up, if we have a great summer, to be more competitive next year, which I'm looking forward to.
Talk about the future then.
Yeah, future. Of the 12 guys that I had on my sectional roster, I bring back 10. And honestly, when I look at my roster right now, I have 14 guys fighting for 8 spots next year. And so
that's a good thing to have.
It's a great thing to have. So you have your main 4, you know what I mean, that started a lot of the games this year, and we know what they can give us. And then honestly, after that, it's 10 people battling for the next 4 spots. So it should be a really fun summer. Guys aren't shying away from it. Like I said, we were in the weight room this morning. I had 26 guys in the weight room this morning.
Holy cow.
And they wanted to be there. And so we'll be back in it tomorrow. I would like to say that we've turned the corner on getting guys having fun again. When we talked and we had our little recap after the game, obviously we were all bummed and it hurt, but while we were all together in the locker room, I said, hey, this is the last time we're all together as this team's constructed, so we're going to stay in here until we kind of air everything out. Which one of us want to talk about the season, everybody say something. So we all went around and talked, and I think the thing that I was most excited about was I heard from a lot of guys, I wasn't going to play this year, but this is the most fun I've ever had playing a sport. I heard that from several guys, and that kind of made me be like, okay, cool. So that's how you start to build a program. Like, guys want to be around. You don't have to force them to be around. Guys want to be in the weight room. They want to compete. Like, that's how you start to do this, and that's what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to build something here. I'm not going to run from any of the toughness, right? 7-16, like that's tough for me to look at because I am so competitive. But I also understand, like, I'm trying to be here. I want to be here 10 years to where I look down the road and I'm like, okay, I remember when we were 7 and 10, and now I look up and it's 15. That's what the goal is, and I have the group to do it. So I'm going to put a lot of pressure on these guys to make sure they're ready to go, but next year should be very bright.
Any 8th graders that you see might make some noise next year?
Yeah, so the 8th grade class was a little different for us this year. So not a huge basketball class, not a lot of interest in it. So we ended up having 3 or 4 8th graders, and then our 7th graders had to come up and play with them as well. But we do have a couple kids in that class that can play. So that will be helpful. But our 7th grade class, we have a couple really good players in. 6th grade, 5th grade. So honestly, our 8th grade, the guys that are coming to play for us will make impacts, but there's not a lot of them. But then you look 3rd through 7th, and we're ready to go. So we're going to be putting in a full youth program. I came in and put some small stuff together quickly this last year since I came in late. But this week and next, I'm putting together a full youth program with a lot of the guys that have wanted to step up in the area and help out, and it should be pretty special. So we're looking forward to it.
So how important is the summertime to your program?
It is hugely important because, like I told you, it's almost impossible to gain skill during the season. And when you're at a small school and guys are going to go play football and guys are going to play baseball, and like we don't get that time with them. So in the summer, since you don't have any set amount of time that you can be with the guys, like I said, they have fun with us at basketball. So we're going to be the sport that they want to come play, and we're going to be the one that they're going to make sure they get to, and they'll be in the weight room. And so as far as building skill, there's nothing better than the summer. So I go ahead and every year I put together positives, opportunities, and a summer plan for every player I have. And so I went through and made all those. Then we have individual meetings, and so they know ahead of time what I need them to work on. And then I get this whole month off to go through and make sure that I have all drills in place to make sure that all those issues that they're having, or opportunities, are covered within my drill skill sets for the summer. Then we're going to go to 3 different shootouts, and then so I'd like for him to play 15 to 18 games in the summer, and now, again, 4 or 5 of those will be in single days at shootouts and stuff. But as long as we're having a good time while we're growing, that's the best thing. Like I said, we were in the weight room today, and we went hard, and everybody was beat and dead tired, but everybody had a good time. And it's just them enjoying the journey and enjoying the skill work and enjoying the weight room. That's what makes a program, not having fun winning, because you're not going to win if you don't do the other stuff.
Where are those shootouts that you're going to participate
We
in?
are going to one at Purdue. It's a pretty cool experience because you get 4 games. So you'll play
At Mackey? Or?
You play one at Mackey. So everybody gets a
Awesome.
game at Mackey, so that'll be fun for the guys. And then you have one at the practice facility, one at the co-rec, and so they spread you around. We're going to do one at Wabash, and then I think we're going to do one at St. Francis in Fort Wayne. So
Cool.
I like to go around and try and kind of go different areas to try and see different teams.
Sure.
And then what I'll probably do is, so that'll be 4 games each, so 12. I'd like to get 5 or 6 more. And so my buddy Drake Barrett, who coaches at CC, I'll probably get him to come to Frontier like he did last year. I'm sure we'll meet up with some of the local teams. I'd like to get with Rensselaer. So generally what I do is get to the shootouts and then try and pull some local teams that we're kind of punching up at.
Do you, is your staff committed to you, or any changes for next year you see?
Nope,
or
no
you
changes.
can count on 'em?
I would like to add 2. I've talked about that. I'd like to add a couple guys that can give us a little more time, be able to stretch out a little more too, to get with more guys and all that while we're at practice. But as far as that all goes, right now we're looking at we'll bring back Jack Mikesell, who's a JV coach and varsity assistant, and then Don Mills was C team and varsity assistant. And like I said, I'd like to add 1 or 2 more. But as far as staff goes, bringing everybody back, and yeah, they're dedicated guys.
All right. Your first time around here as a head coach, we always give the head coach a chance to say thank yous. I know you got a lot of people that are involved in your program, so take it away.
Yeah, no, thank yous. I guess we'll start with my wife and kids. I mean, they share me during this time of year. It takes a lot of time to do what we do. And that's the thing, is she understands that this is what I like to do with my life. This is my purpose. So I like to be with the young guys and play ball. And so her allowing me to take as much time as I do away, as long as, and with my kids as well. So I take a lot of time away, so I'm looking forward to getting back with them. My parents have been hugely supportive. And then, like I said, coming to work for Mark was a big pull for me to come to Frontier. It's been fantastic. The people at the school have been great. And Jack and Don both, they did everything I could ask. And Jack wants to be a head coach someday, so me being able to kind of give him some things too, or give him a little bit of knowledge here and there. But then, he makes our scouting report, and then he sends it to me. We review it, and then add a couple things and go from there. So, I'm starting to give him some things like, hey, if you want to be the guy, this is where you go, or hey, this is my interview material that I've used in the past. So, as much as I'd like him to be with me forever, my job is also to develop him and build him along. So that's been fun. But as far as that all goes, and then we appreciate you guys obviously doing this. Like we were talking about earlier, these kids just want recognition. That's what high school kids want, right? So this is the way we do that. And then other than that, I would reach out. Some of the coaches that I talk to a lot be Kent Adams, Clint Swan, Drake Barrett, like those guys I can bounce stuff off of, and all guys that know what they're doing in the coaching world. So I would say that group of people were as big to my first year as anybody could have been.
A lot of those guys who we've watched play,
yeah,
old-timers like us.
Yep, and those guys have been fantastic. I made sure that I got with them this summer just to kind of fine-tune some things. I asked some questions that I had, and they've been great. Never turned me down on any question I have, and having people like that's invaluable. So.
Well, Trent, we sure enjoyed you coming over each week and enjoyed doing your game against Rensselaer, and look forward to have a good off season, and we'll see you next year.
Perfect.
All right,
looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
all
Trent.
right, Trent Fegley from the Frontier Falcons, back with more of the Coach's Cage on 3kgthecage.com after this.
Working with our customers has been Kentland Bank's trademark for 87 years. We're dedicated to making your visit a lasting one, and helping you achieve your goals is our #1 priority. With 5 locations, Kentland Bank offers all loans needed for today's businesses and families, including car loans, mortgages, agriculture, and commercial loans. We're here to make your busy life less hectic by offering online and mobile banking, bill pay, and P2P payments. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
In agriculture, preparation is important. Dedication is you deciding what to plant and then asking what it will take for a good crop. How much work will it take to produce the final crop? In sports, preparation is vital in becoming the best you can be. Dedication is a will of achievements for a winning desire. Corbett Farms encourages everyone to do their best by having a winning spirit, attitude, and achievement. Your positivity will make a difference. Corbett Farms is proud to sponsor high school sports.
Pulver Psychological Services offers psychological counseling, consultation, and assessment. Locally owned and operated, Pulver Psych focuses on solutions for the community and serves as support for individuals, families, and organizations. Whether you're in need of personal, family, or success counseling, Pulver Psychological Services can help you reach your life goals, increase work satisfaction, have better relationship compatibility, improve sports performance. Get in touch with Pulver Psychological Services by visiting pulverpsych.com.
At Applegate Seed House, we specialize in any and all small seed project needs. This includes government programs, CRP, pollinators and waterways, pasture mixes, and new lawn seed. Applegate Seed House is located 2 miles north of Brook, Indiana, and 2.5 miles east of Highway 41. Call Sam at 765-363-3113. That's Sam at Applegate Seed House, 765-363-3113.
Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodeman has been serving the Jasper County and surrounding area since 2009. Being involved in the area, Joe Goodeman has kept his interest in making sure he provides the best insurance for his clients. Whether you need life, car, home, business, farm and crops, or even renter's insurance, Agent Joe Goodeman will keep searching for the best policy for your valued investments. Call Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodeman at 219-866-4694 or stop in at 2570 North McKinley Avenue in Rensselaer.
Hi, welcome back to the Coach's Cage show. And again, we've extended it one more week because we've had two sectional champions that we'll talk with next week, and also North White coaching staff couldn't make it tonight, so we'll have them next week as well. But we'll turn our attention to another Midwest Conference school. It's West Central's Brad Odom. And Brad, thanks for coming back here one more time to talk about the season. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
All right, let's go over the sectional first. Get that out of the way. You played what, twice?
Yeah, played North White opening night. Played really, really well. Defensively pressured all over the floor. Got out in transition. Had some really good nights by a couple of our kids offensively, and then moved on to be able to play the host team Caston on Friday night. Which was, as we talked going into that sectional, that was one of our goals. We wanted to make sure that we found a way to battle and get to Friday night, and whatever happens would happen.
What a change a couple weeks ago, because he just lost in a heartbreaker to North White, the game that we had on 3KG.
Yeah, we didn't play well. We didn't play well that night. He did a good job of switching up his defenses and frustrated us, and our kids came in very, very focused for the sectional game. So we thought if we could kind of do the same thing to them and switch up our defense and maybe show something we hadn't, we could frustrate their main ball handler like they had done to us and kind of keep them out of a rhythm and a pace, and then be able to get out and go. And our kids did a great job with that game plan. Connor Marlatt had a great night that night, hit 4 threes. Comes back Friday night, does the same thing again. So it was a good night for us, to be able to rebound, and ultimately you always want your kids to be able to find a way to play on that Friday night of sectional because you got 4 teams there and it's going to be loud.
Let's talk about the regular season now. What'd you finish, and just give a little recap of the whole year.
So finished 4-20. Obviously not maybe as successful wins and losses as we wanted to, but we knew that we wanted to try to turn around a program that had some perception issues. There had been some things that happened in the past couple of years that maybe frustrated people, or maybe people had, some preconceived notions about what West Central basketball was, and we took that to heart. My coaching staff and I, we wanted to make sure that people saw our kids for what they really were. That our kids were always going to battle and play hard no matter what the obstacle or the outcome would be. You get 32 minutes every night to compete, and we wanted to make sure that we used all 32 minutes no matter what the score or situation was. So we had a lot of ups and downs. We went through a lot of adversity. We told the kids that, when you get to the point of sectional, there's always going to be some adversity that comes through that maybe you don't expect, or maybe you can't prepare for it. And we laughed before the casting game. We were like, well, what other things could possibly happen to us that we haven't seen? I mean, we lost 4 of 8 varsity kids at different times throughout the years.
That's a lot.
So you compete through that. We had the lights go out on us against Lake Station, and you don't get to play there. So it's like, what else could possibly happen that we haven't seen? And through it all, I thought they did a great job of listening and understanding what we were trying to get done. It's about building a culture that your community can rally around, and our crowds continue to grow throughout the year. People supported us, even through a difficult season. And then you look at, my coaching staff, most of them have young kids, and our young kids were always around our boys. They're always wanting to be near those kids. And that's what you do it for. You do it for the next generation. So those kids that emulate a kid like a Bryce or a Connor or a Brendan, they want to be around them, and they pick up a basketball and they keep working. So, maybe, you look at the record and you're like, wow, that was a tough season, but it's a building point. Everybody has a starting point. Where you start and where you end are 2 totally different things. And our program's going in the right direction.
All right. Seniors?
3. So, Austin Bolin, senior, didn't get to play much throughout the year, battled a couple of injuries, separated his shoulder in, I believe, the Tri-Township game, and never got to come back fully from that. Just never could get full rotation in it. Kind of joked it was his first block of the year that he separated his shoulder on, so maybe he shouldn't have tried to block a shot. But unfortunately for him, he's a big, strong kid, and it just, when it popped out, you knew Didn't know that it would take as long as it has to heal. But he never could get full mobility back in it. So we started him senior night. We agreed with Lake Station's head coach, hey, take the opening tip. I want this kid on the floor so he can have his moment. And we got him out there. That was a good moment for him. That's a good moment for me. I got to tell him, how much he meant to the program. But unfortunately, he didn't get to play much down the stretch. Another senior, Blake Hughes. This was Blake's first year playing, I think, since junior high. So coming in, it took a long time to get Blake up to speed. Very physical, strong kid. But basketball-wise, he was behind the eight ball. Getting into different sets and getting into the different types of movements and motions we wanted him to get into. It took a while to get him up to speed. And then I think by the time we had to throw him in because of all of the adversity we went through, I don't think he was ready for it. But as the year went on, he did a great job of battling inside. Very physical post. Started to get a basket or two in each game. Rebounded well, could defend well. And kind of set the tone to help his younger brother out as his younger brother had to start filling a role for us. And we'll talk about him a little bit.
It's got to be tough, though, just to blend with the other guys. They're all used to playing with each other, and now you're jumping into that.
Well, and he's a kid that, about 3 or 4 games in, he said, "Hey, Coach, can I just go play JV?"
Really?
He goes,
Wow,
I just want to play. And we're like, as a senior, that's not always the best thing possible for the whole program because you also want to continue to develop your sophomores and your juniors and your freshmen. So we said, keep working. When you get your opportunity, man, we'll let you run, And he never complained. He always stayed positive. He was always trying to find something that he could focus on. And he battled a knee injury all year too. So, he had his knee, I think, scoped back in November. And I think he kind of injured it again late in the year where he could only give us a couple of minutes here and there, but he always wanted to be on the floor. And that leads us to our last senior, which is Connor Marlatt. Connor is the ultimate competitor. Started off the year as our point guard, kind of morphed into an off guard a couple of games in to try to get him to be a little bit more aggressive. And then really struggled with his shot most of the year until sectional came. And then when sectional came, he hit 8 threes in 2 games. And kind of turned into the kid we all envisioned him to be offensively. We told him that's the competitor in you. He works so hard, and he will do about anything he can to try to be successful. And the losing kind of took a toll on him at times, and he continued to battle, and he continued to lead in a positive way. And you tell a kid like that, there's so much more to life for you than the game of basketball, but the lessons that basketball can teach you will make you a better man, or make you a better husband, or make you a better father. And I said, I know everything that you gave us is going to make you a real productive adult one day. So it was really nice to see him play with such passion in the sectional. And also such confidence, he was a kid that a couple of weeks ago, he was like, I don't want to shoot the ball ever again. And then he hit his first one against North White, and then it was like something clicked, and it was just a full on.
Really?
Yeah, he hit, I think, 4 or 6 that night. He hit 4 or 7 the next night, and he played really, really well. So I'm glad to see him, go out as a senior on a positive note individually.
Does he play spring sports?
He runs track.
Okay. Yeah. Sprinter probably, huh?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good athlete. He was the quarterback on our football team, and he was very productive there too. So I imagine he's probably a short distance or mid distance kid.
All right, future.
So where you want me to go with that, as far as like what's coming back, what we envision?
Both.
Take it wherever.
Take it wherever.
So we'll have multiple kids coming back next year. We lose Connor as a starter, but we have 4 starters coming back. Bryce Naniga, our leading scorer, 1,000-point scorer in his career, averages about 19 points a game. Bryce will be back, so he'll kind of be a centerpiece for us.
Good place to start.
That does not hurt. Adding to that kind of depth, Brendan Grindstaff, our varsity point guard, will be back. He started about 3 games in to his freshman year.
How important was him playing this year?
It would have been a real struggle to handle pressure without Brendan Grindstaff's ability to handle the basketball on the floor. You know, when we brought him up, we told him that he was never going to come off the floor again for the rest of his life. And I don't know if he thought I was joking, but I was not joking.
Yeah.
Like, Brendan will always be on the floor because of his ability to shoot the basketball and the way he can handle. And that will continue to grow and improve, you know. He was only a freshman, and he pretty much played 32 minutes every single night.
Holds his own defensively too, doesn't he?
He does. He's very shifty. He's very aggressive. He's quick. He starts quick. He can stop and then go at another speed. So he has a gear that a lot of kids don't have. And being able to use that and grow his talents in the program it's gonna push us forward really quick. So, you know, Brendan will be back. Jaden Miller was a consistent starter for us. And Jaden kind of led more defensively than offensively. You know, he's a little bit more geared towards that. But Jaden will be back. You know, he had a career high 21 against Pioneer late. So we'll continue to add that to the mix. Landon Hughes started as a freshman late. Where I was telling you guys, Landon probably averaged about 7 rebounds a game over the last 3. Landon's a little undersized at 5'10", but he'll continue to grow. He's got an enormous wingspan, probably 6'3", 6'4". We kind of say he's a Dennis Rodman type of kid. So if you're averaging 6.5, 7 rebounds a game as a freshman, what are you going to look like as a junior or senior? You know, so he'll be a key to continue to develop and work on him to increase his ability to score the basketball and maybe be a little more confident on that end, because right now he doesn't want to do any of that stuff. He doesn't like shooting it at all. And then you add in, you know, some of our other kids. You know, we had Zach Benning was injured, so Zach will be back. He didn't get a lot of time late because he had a groin injury. Adding to Zach, then we've got some of our JV kids that we moved up when we were injured. So Maddox Gutwine, he can shoot the ball. He played our JV point position, so you always want to try to put a kid in the JV point position that's going to need to be able to make that adjustment quickly to be able to develop into a varsity kid. So if you don't have that true point guard at the JV level, I think it's critical to be able to put whatever piece is next in line and just force that stress into their game and see how they're going to handle it. And Maddox did a good job for us. Malachi Wireman's another sophomore that'll be moving up more than likely next year. Good little wing athlete. You know, we'll continue to work on his strength and his ability to shoot the ball from the outside. Just going down the list here, guys. Let's see. Sebastian St. Clair was a junior that started for us on JV. He got some time on the varsity late. And then we threw some really young kids in as well. And some times where we only had about 6 or 7 kids we could dress, so that would be Hayden Johns and Zane Wall, and then Blake Indris. So, you know, there's a variety of kids we can look forward to continue to develop, and then we've got a really strong 8th grade class. You know, our 8th grade class went 18-1 in the regular season.
Holy smokes!
You know, they play a lot of basketball. They play well together. They can shoot. They're very aggressive. They like the style that we want to implement as far as pressing and trapping and getting out in transition. So, you know, they're going to push kids above them too to improve. So
how many are in that group?
So I believe that we'll have 8.
8th grade class. Wow.
And 8 out of that class, maybe 9 at the most.
That's tremendous.
That's pretty good, yeah.
So, you know, you throw them into the mix, you know, and everybody continues to compete during practice, and the level of competition as it rises, the expectations rise. You know, your overall basketball ability continues to improve as well.
What are you doing over the summertime and the entire off season? How important is that for West Central?
It's going to be critical because, you know, when we took over the job, and we gave the board a 4-year program. You know, where these are the 4 things, or these are the things we wanted to be able to get done in 4 years, and shooting was our number 1 priority. I mean, you can't win games if you can't score. And we did shoot the ball a lot better as the season went on. We're lucky enough to have 3 shooting machines at West Central through various donations, and we're going to make sure that they're used a lot. The more shots that you can log, the better off that you'll be. So that was our number one goal, was to make sure.
You need to score more than 44 points a game.
Absolutely. You look at the history of, at least locally in 1A, 55 points is a number. If you can score 55 points in and out every single night, you're going to win more games than you lose. In some of West Central's best years under Brian Heinlich, they were around the 52 to 55 point mark because of the style of basketball they played and how everyone around here, you add in a Tri-County, a Caston,
South Newton,
North White, you add those teams in and they scout, religiously. They're going to know what you do and they're going to shut that down. So if you can still get to 50 in a game locally, you're going to have a chance to win. So scoring the basketball has to, we have to get better at that. And we knew that coming in that was going to be one of our weaknesses. The other one is strength development. We've got to find a way for our kids to get in our weight room consistently. And whether that be before school, during school, after school, whenever, we've got to make that commitment and be dedicated to that part of the game. And that, for some kids, is a hard one, They love the game of basketball, but how much do you really want to push your body, to be able to get prepared for the grind that is a 5-month season? So, that part of it starts on Monday. We told them we'd give them this week off, and then we'll meet with them starting Monday, and we'll see where that goes. But another thing that's really hard in 1A basketball or 1A sports in general is, if your best kids are playing 3 sports, when do you find that time?
Yeah.
You have to get everybody on the same page to be able to build it. How do you build it? What's the right program for the right time? So, we know that especially for next year, for us, we're going to be young. We're going to be a little inexperienced in spots. And you got to try to find a way to make 14 and 15-year-olds look more like 17 and 18-year-olds to compete at the level that we want, and the level that I think everybody kind of wants to expect. So you got those two things in play, and then as far as what we'll do in the summer, typically I like to work 3 days a week, and then we'll have to see where things lie as far as where we can go to play and what we can do from there.
What's it like? Go ahead, Bill.
How's your staff? Are they strong behind you? Everybody's committed to come back?
Oh yeah, I think when you watch us coach towards the end of the year, sometimes it seemed like we had more guys on the staff than we did kids on the bench. And those are guys that are going to be loyal, and those are guys that are committed. Some of them have kids in the program and some don't. So, the guys that have, second, third, fourth grade boys, they're building this so it's in place and it's strong for when their kids come up. So they're going to be around, as long as I'm going to be around, and that will help. You develop that kind of chemistry with the staff, exactly how you want to implement it, what you want to do. So there won't really be any changes as far as who's on my staff or what we do, but the jobs will change a little bit here and there. But all the guys, the guys will all stay the same.
What's in that same vein? Your first year back in several years. Mm-hmm. What was it like for you coaching first year after how many years off?
I think it was 10. So 10 years between the last time I coached a girls sectional game at Tri-County and then our first home game against Culver in November.
What were some of the biggest changes that you experienced in the game?
I don't know if there are really a lot of changes in the game. For me personally, I had to get used to the speed again. I'd coached at the lower levels a couple of years, and then you get back into the game and you want to be able to do certain things, and maybe that's not what's going to be your strongest suit. I want to press, I want to trap, I want to do all of those things, and the speed of the game, that part's a little different. Our knowledge, or the knowledge of what you want compared to what we understood, that was a little bit of an adjustment, but we expected that. So, as far as what was different, My age. I'm a lot older than what I used to be. Coming home at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and getting ready to go in the morning seemed like it was a little bit tougher, but, I missed it. It's a part of me that I take a lot of pride in my ability to prepare kids and what I expect out of kids, and I think the kids enjoyed it. And that's a part that when you're away from it, you miss. And getting back into that was a big deal for me. I think it was also a big deal for my son. My son Ben loved being around the guys, and that's what we all do it for. We don't do it for a paycheck. We don't do it for personal reasons. We do it because it's a lot of fun to be one of the guys and see the change. To see the change in the culture, to see the change in the commitment, to see the passion behind it. You take a kid like Connor Marlatt, for example. Connor's like, man, this season was a lot of fun, Coach. I know maybe we weren't as successful, but it meant a lot to him, and that's why you do it.
So you're going to be hanging around a while, a few years, huh?
Unless somebody has a different idea.
Well, that's good. That's good. That stability is always a good thing. So before we let you go, Brad, give you a chance to say your thank yous to a lot of people that contribute to the West Central program.
So I think, when you get back in it, you have to think about the people that allow you to get back in it, and that has to kind of start with my wife. My wife knows the amount of commitment that this takes, and it'd been a long time for her dealing with that kind of commitment too. But a lot of long nights, a lot of weekends away, a lot of time watching film. And without her support, I wouldn't be able to come back and do it. So I think I got to start there. And then you go to, the people within the corporation that allowed you to do it. So that starts with the school board, the superintendent, your principal, your athletic directors, and then you work your way down to your coaching staff. I've got a really good staff that's going to be in place for many years, and we're going to continue to get this thing moving in the right direction. We're going to continue to work very, very hard to make sure that we have a program that the community can be proud of, that the community wants to come out and support every single weekend. From there, you go down to your parents. It is a big commitment to be a 3-sport parent in a small school. It's a big commitment because basketball is no longer a 5-month season. Basketball is pretty much all but 1 month anymore. So we're all going to talk about our spring commitments and our spring workouts, and then our summer workouts, and then fall. It never ends. And for kids that play everything, man, it forces a lot of commitment out of parents, and that's not lost on us either. And we thank them for all their support and all the times that they're getting kids to and from and feeding our kids. Our parents are always making sure our kids have something to eat after games. And taking care of us, so I thank them. And then you go all the way down to your kids, your players. And, I know that this was a huge change for them as far as what we expected and how we wanted them to do things. And they never complained. They never fought us. They always listened. They always nodded their head. And we had high expectations. And I think that can't change. Even in, the face of adversity or a tough season, what you want to accomplish still always has to stay the same. So we're always going to talk about we want to compete for a conference. We want to compete for a holiday tournament. We want to compete for a sectional, and we want to beat our rivals. And no matter where you're at in the development of your program, whatever stage you're on, those things can't change. And, we came close on some of those things. We battled in some games and just came up a little short. But, this was a beginning. More than anything, that's what this was. This is a starting point to continue to move forward and get better, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Well, Brad, Bill and I can't express how nice it is to have West Central back on our coaches show. It's been a long time since anybody from West Central has came over and be a part of a program. We appreciate every week. I know it's hard sometimes to talk when your season's not going like it is, but I want you to know that Bill and I, Scotty, appreciate your willingness to come over, and every game we did, you come up after the game and we do appreciate that.
Well, and like I told you guys last week, our job is to promote our athletes in our small schools. And you guys do a tremendous job of supporting West Central, and we want to make sure that we acknowledge that every opportunity that we get, and as we continue to get this thing moving in the right direction, I'm sure we'll see you guys a lot more often.
Appreciate it, Brad.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Brad.
All right, Brad Odom from the West Central Trojans. Back with more of the Coach's Cage after this.
Founded in 1931, Community State Bank in Brook is your community bank. We specialize in relationship banking while offering the technology required to meet your modern banking needs. Community State Bank is the area leader in new construction loans and home mortgages. Our lenders know small business and have products to meet your farm and business needs. We're available to get to know you and your needs today at 224 West Main in Brook or by calling 219-275-2441.
Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Chuck Clark with the Underwood Insurance Agency, formerly Preferred Insurance Group. Are you tired of being sacked every month with your auto insurance bill? Do you feel you just pay your premium to your agent and never hear from them? We at the Underwood Insurance Agency work with over 10 insurance carriers to get you our best rate and coverage we can, and we pride ourselves on serving our customers like they are our family. We are conveniently located in Remington and Lafayette. We can be reached at underwoodagency.com. Reach out to us to score big savings.
High-quality, personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117. Or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics.
24/7 Club Fit is a 24-hour keycard accessed fitness center located in downtown Rensselaer. The 8,000 square foot facility offers free weights, weight machines, and a large variety of cardio equipment. We also offer free aerobics classes. 24/7 Club Fit offers 6-month contracts starting as low as $25 per month for students, those 55 years and older, and there are no sign-up or keycard fees. We also participate in the Silver Sneakers program. Call 219-866-0033 or contact us on Facebook. 24/7 Club Fit, where time is no excuse.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Welcome back to the 3KG Coach's Cage Show, brought to you weekly here Wednesday evenings from Arnie's Pizzeria. Come on, join us here. It's a lot of fun. Can't beat it. You can chat with some of the coaches, area coaches. I'm sure they'll be happy to talk with you, and we have a blast. Fine folks here at Arnie's always keep us fed, and geez, anything you want. Great hospitality.
Talk about a sectional championship.
And we got a
here.
sectional championship, and that's going to be Tri-County, our first winner here tonight. And they just to let you know, as they big victory over at Caston last weekend, but they'll move into the regional against Elkhart Christian, a 16-9 squad. And that'll be over at North Judson on Saturday.
One game regional.
One game. Well, there's 2 games, but they're, I mean, at the sites are 2 games. So
2 different classes.
2 different classes.
Yeah.
The other game, the Cavaliers game is at 4 p.m. Right, Coach?
And Central, and then it'd be 5 Eastern.
And then Gary 21st Century in 2A will take on North Judson Gary is
You get
20
to play
and
on their
6.
home floor?
Judson,
floor?
yeah, 15-9,
Wow.
and that's slated for 7 p.m. So if you're a Cav fan going down there, you can get an extra game to enjoy too. So that'll be fun. You got a nice representation last week at Caston, but boy,
Yeah.
you guys played well, Coach.
Yeah, we did. I mean,
Take us through those games.
Well, yeah, we talked last week about South Newton a little bit, and again, just we came out and played really well. I think the highlight of that game was Eric Zarzi. We mentioned before the half, he kind of got a steal and layup, and then hit kind of half-court shot. But looking at his stats for that game overall, he had 6 assists, 6 steals, and 7 deflections defensively. So again, he was stuffing things there on Tuesday night and played really well for us. Then heading into that Friday night game against Frontier, again we knew we'd have to be ready for them. They played us really well in the regular season, and we looked at it as Kobe Baylor didn't have a very good game that first time, but I'm sure they were going into it, saying Drew Turner didn't have a good game for them either in the first game. So early on, they really jumped on us. They got the lead all the way to 10-0. So we were down pretty big there early on. But again, we just showed a lot of composure, staying calm. And on Friday night, that was the last thing I had written on the board was composure, and just they're going to go on spurts. Just stay calm and stay in the moment, and we'll be ready to respond when we get the chance to. And Riley Hughes did a great job driving in the paint, getting a left-handed layup to get things started. And almost right after that, Kobe Baylor got a steal and run-out layup. So we were able to do some things there to end the first, only be down 4 points. And after that second quarter for us was really strong. We scored 21 points and we held Frontier to 10. So pulled away there and getting a 7-point lead going into halftime, and again we just kind of continued to build on that throughout the rest of the game. It just really good game, and that second quarter Kobe Baylor was pretty unstoppable. He finished the game with 26 points, which is a lot, obviously, and he shot 6 of 8 at the free throw line, so a really strong showing for him there. And again, we talked about free throws being a little bit of a struggle for us at times this season. We finished the game against Frontier 8 of 12, which we're going to take, obviously. And the one guy I haven't mentioned yet, and that was huge for us that Friday night, was Noah Dallenberg. He came off the bench. He had an injury on Tuesday night. He couldn't even dress for us, and but it was one of those things. He was ready to go by Friday, and he played one of his best games the whole season, scoring 11 points. In the first half, he got an offensive rebound, got fouled, was able to make both his free throws, and then in that third quarter, he was just huge. He got an easy layup, then turned around, hit a 3, and then right after that, he got a pass in the corner for 3 again, was able to just go to a shot fake and drive and attack and get another layup. So again,
what grade is he in?
He's a junior.
Junior?
And,
okay.
So he scored 11 points for us off the bench, and again, just really solid for us, and kind of an unexpected 11 points. And mentioning Kobe Baylor's 26, you don't expect Kobe Baylor necessarily to score 26, but he's going to do decent. And the other starter that was really solid for us then was Riley Hughes with 12, and again, he did a really good job of hitting threes, and like I mentioned, he kind of set things up for us at the start by getting the first bucket. So again, we just were able to kind of pull away from Frontier there, and we win that game 66-37. But again, I just thought defensively we played really good, and then offensively we just did a great job of sharing the basketball. And the reason we were able to score so much was we were able to hit some tough shots, but also just find the open guy for layups, and just real credit to the guys there in that game. So that kind of set us up for that championship. Getting to go back over to Caston, be the 4th time there in the last couple weeks, just between our practice and everything, and playing the home team. So always a challenge, and again, another team that played us really well and tough in the regular season, and that was on our home floor. So we knew obviously going into a rematch with them on their home floor, it wasn't going to be easy, especially in that sectional type atmosphere. But
beat them by
7 in the regular.
Yeah, 65 to 58.
Yeah.
Back on January 27th.
Yeah, and that was a really high-scoring game. But going into that sectional championship, you knew, okay, defense is going to be much bigger emphasis, and being the second game and in 2 nights, just a sectional level game is totally different, obviously, than playing in the regular season. Just not only with your nerves, but the guys, they play really hard. It's always extremely physical, so you're just always a little beat up going in that Saturday night game. But again, we just preach to the guys. We've got the experience. We've been here. We won this last year, and we've already beat this same team we got to play again. So just have a lot of confidence going into it. And we knew they had the Zyder kid, number 4 for them, who's a really, really good shooter. We had to shut him down. And then number 11 for him, Stenson's a really good driver. And those are number 1 and number 2 on the scouting report. If we limit 11's drives and 4's opportunities from 3, we're going to be in good shape. And again, going into the start of that game, we started a little slow. They did a great job. Obviously, their scouting report was to take away any of our drives, and they were taking a ton of charges in that first quarter. I think it was like 5 or 6 charges. I mean, it was quite a few, and Kobe Baylor, had 2 charges just in that quarter, and so he got his second one there right at the end with maybe 10 seconds left in the quarter, and that puts us in a really tough spot. At the time we were down. We had 7, they had 12, and we got our leading scorer. He's got 6 of our 7 points, but he's got 2 fouls. So, just going into that, obviously there's different ways you can handle it. I was sitting him down there going into the second, but I always had in the back of my head, if they start making a run, we may have to go to him even with 2 fouls, just because sitting that entire second quarter may be tough. And I mentioned Noah Dallenberg played great off the bench on Friday night, and he played another really good game there on Saturday. But the real guy off the bench that just made a huge difference for us was Drew Foster. And again, we talked about him a lot with how he could score at the JV level, and Drew Foster's last week of varsity basketball has been absolutely incredible. I hadn't mentioned him a lot in the other games just because he had just scored a couple baskets here or there for the most part. He did have 9 the other on Tuesday night, so that was quite a few. But some of those were obviously when the subs are out. And here on Saturday night, he was kind of the star when Kobe went out. Drew goes in and he drives in, gets an and one basket, makes his free throw, and I'd said he's probably the best free throw shooter in our entire program. So. He did that, and then he also went down and did it a second time, got an and one layup. So just in that second quarter, he had 2 and one layups for us. Was able to score 6 points going into the half, and again, really needed those 6 points. We did a really good job defensively and held Caston to where they only had 19 points at the half, and we only had 15. It's just not a high-scoring game, kind of like I said we knew it wouldn't be, but Drew Foster coming in and scoring 6 points there in the second quarter to go into the half, and our leading scorers are Kobe Baylor with 6 and Drew Foster with 6. I mean, that's huge.
The moment was not too big for Drew Foster, was it?
No.
I mean, for a kid that plays mostly JV, was able to watch the game, and my gosh, I was impressed with the way he really delivered.
He did, and again, I'm just talking here in the first half. He really delivered. I didn't mention, he was getting steals. He was getting defensive rebounds for us. He seemed to always be in the right place at the right time, and it was really valuable because, like you said, he's not a guy who necessarily has played a lot of varsity minutes, but once I put him in the game, it was hard to take him out of the game because he was just doing everything we'd possibly need from him.
And what grade is he in?
He's a sophomore.
Sophomore, okay.
Yeah, we've got some young guys stepping up and making huge plays. And so going into, again, mentioned there at half, we're down 4, but, Kobe Baylor hasn't played the entire second quarter, and so realistically, we're feeling pretty good. And we come out of the half and drew up a, play trying to get Eric Zarzi coming downhill a little bit and on a handoff, and he's able to get a bucket and, try to start to close that lead, and then we're able to later on get a quick ball reversal offensive rebound. Connor Ross was buried down low. There's 3 Caston players all around him. The ball comes off the rim, a missed shot from Riley Hughes, and I don't know how Connor Ross came down with this rebound, but he came down with it and turned and kicked it out to Eric Zarzi, and he just made the one extra pass to Grayson Schneider, who buried a 3, and that gave us a 1-point lead then. So we go on a 5-0 run straight out of halftime to get the lead, and you gotta give Caston some credit. They went back and forth with us a tiny bit, but again, we mentioned that second half really taking it 2 teams. We held them to only 5 points in that third quarter, and that's a huge difference maker. We're able to score 15, and suddenly that deficit at the half, we're going into the fourth quarter and it's 30-24. We got a 6-point lead, and again, I mentioned Grayson Schneider was huge that quarter. The other guys, Kobe Baylor was really big, obviously, just coming in, getting back in the flow of things. And then I mentioned Eric Zarzi kind of hit a mid-range jumper there right out of the half. He also buried a 3 right before the end of the quarter. So he did a great job. And, again, you go there, you're up 6 going into the fourth quarter. We just said, hey, one more quarter, fellas, and we got this. And you got to give Eric Zarzi some credit. He kind of called his number there and said at that break between the third and fourth, if we get him a play for 3, he's going to hit the shot. And we ran a play for him, and coming straight out of the half, he buried a 3 to give us that 33-24 lead. And again, Caston did a good job of kind of sticking with us there in that fourth quarter. It really was kind of back and forth all the way to the end, but I don't know if they ever got it within 4 at any point. That was probably the closest it got to. So just real credit to our guys as far as being able to execute down late. Again, hitting free throws was a huge part of that, but when Caston started to put a press on too, we did a great job of executing. We had 3 different plays that are designed to try to get guys opened against the press, and an element to all those plays is sending the guy deep. That's not like the focal point of the play. It's just trying to open space up for everybody. And but on all 3 occasions, we were able to hit that guy who went deep, which was kind of awesome to see. But again, a great job executing by our guys. And a lot of times, a couple of those times, it was Drew Foster going deep. One of the times he caught it deep, got fouled, and was able to make his free throws. And another time he was able to catch it deep and just get a layup. So I mentioned he scored 6 in the first half. He turned around and scored 7 there in the second, and finishes the game with 13 points and was our second leading scorer. Kobe Baylor had 15, but going into a sectional championship, we win the game by only 7 points, and a sophomore who averaged around 2 points a game this year scored 13 for us. I mean, it was incredible.
Do you think going through that and winning a sectional championship last year helped you Saturday night?
Oh, no doubt. I think having that experience is absolutely valuable. And again, even for some of those guys like Drew Foster, like he didn't play last year, but he was on the sectional roster. So, he was around the team. He kind of got a feel for how things were. And, like you said, the moment wasn't too big for him. And I think that was the case with a lot of our guys. The moment wasn't too big for him. When we go down there early in the game and we have to sit, Kobe Baylor, who's our leading scorer, nobody panicked at any point. The moment wasn't too big. Different guys stepped up who needed to, made plays. We mentioned how good Drew Foster played. Eric Zarzi was really solid for us. He scored 10 points, and Riley Hughes didn't score a lot. He only had 2 points in the game, but he was just a really calming force, executing the offense, calling out plays, getting guys in the right places, and that's just invaluable.
What was the kids? How did they react? I mean, that's pretty cool. I don't know how much that was your. I counted just the recent history. You had 10 sectional championships. I know we were talking off the air about some back in the older days, but not too many kids can come say that they won back-to-back sectionals. Not in Indiana, it's tough to win one.
Yeah,
and to be a class that wins 2. That's got to be pretty good feeling.
Yeah, it's special, and again, this class especially, they've kind of been through it. You go back and look when they were sophomores, and a lot of them were playing big minutes. They only won 4 games, so to go from that to winning back-to-back sectional championships, that's extremely special. And for us as a school, the only other time that's happened was there was a three-peat from 06, 07, 08. So we have had this happen before in school history, but obviously that's not something that's happened very often, and it's something that's really special for these kids, and they've worked really hard to achieve. That's what they've. I've said it before. They're kind of gym rats. They don't leave the gym. In the summertime too. They just love to be in the gym. We had a team meal Monday here, and it was at 6:30, and it's 6:15, and the guys are still in the gym shooting. I'm like, guys, we got to go. We got a meal. So that's just, again, the type of players that they are, and it really shows off when you get into the game atmosphere. And, again, just really awesome to watch them achieve this.
And it's got to be even more gratifying the way you started off 0-5.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We started off 0-5, so we're 14-11. We're 14-6 since that 0-5 start, which is, if you just say 14-6, that's pretty good.
Coach, one more thing that you guys haven't accomplished at Tri-County is winning a regional. Can you do it?
I mean, we've got a great opportunity here. That's what we've really preached to the guys. They changed the format going into last year to where it's just a one-game regional. You win one game, you win the regional. So, we've emphasized to the guys this is something that's never happened. Now, we try to be fair to some of those former teams as far as we've had teams that won the first game of the regional when it was a two-game regional format.
Close, yeah.
And they came close, but again, that's just the rule set that they played with. We're playing with the rule set that we have. So if we're able to win this game, we will be the first regional champs in boys history for Tri-County, and that would be extremely special, obviously.
What do you know about Elkhart Christian?
They've got a really, really good point guard. He's the coach's son. He's about 5'11", so he's not like super tall, but he's really talented as far as he can shoot from anywhere. He's really quick off the dribble. He can get to the rim. If you bail him out as far as you try to foul him when he gets to the rim, he's an 86% free throw shooter. So, and I mention him just because he leads them in every single category except for three-point percentage, and that is his brother, who's only a sophomore. So it kind of, their whole offense goes through one kid, and, that'll be a challenge for us. In their game against Bethany Christian there in the sectional, he scored 41. So
wow.
He's capable of filling it up, and, we've seen guys that are capable of doing that before, and we've just got to do a great job as a team of shutting him down and then also making sure the other pieces can't get hot as well.
How's their size-wise?
Size-wise, again, you're watching film, you're reading just what it says as far as on their roster. It's a little different for this. I haven't seen them play in person, so just going off of what I've seen, I think we're actually taller than them, which is kind of surprising to some degree. There's not a lot of times we've gone into a regional game and could say you had the size advantage, but again, I mentioned all that. They've got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of speed. They've got some athletes, so we just got to be ready to play. And if we go in and we play our best basketball like we have been, I really like our chances.
Tell us the preparation. Do you go and practice at North Judson, and then the day of the game, how do you approach that then?
Yeah, so we'll get to go up there. It just depends on your opportunities. The way it usually works is we have a meeting with all of the teams up there that are in the regional, and the farthest team away gets first pick on practice time. So we're kind of lucky. North Judson, like you said, is hosting it, and they're in it, so they didn't have to pick a practice time. But for the other three schools, we are the closest. So as a result, we picked last, and which is fine. We went with the Friday practice time, so we'll go over there the night before and get a feel for the environment. Get plenty of shots up, find any dead spots on the floor, all those fun things, and then when it comes to the game day, obviously you don't want the kids sleeping in too late. Want them getting up, get moving, and be ready to go. Obviously we play a later game, but that's not too different than what we've done throughout the season. So we'll get over there, probably about an hour and a half early. I'm big on the kids getting out and sitting on the bench just in their stuff. You're not allowed to be on the floor or shoot hoops or anything until they put the 20 minutes on the clock. So, but I'm still big about them being out there even before the crowd gets there and just, sitting down and taking it all in. But then we'll also have an opportunity. They have an aux gym for us where the kids can get some shots up and kind of get warmed up before that 20 minutes is on the clock. And, then once that 20 minutes is on the clock and we go out there, it's pretty much a normal game time from there on out.
Well, Ryan, we wish you nothing but the best of luck. Congratulations on your second straight sectional championship, and go get them in the regional. And we're going to extend our coaches show one more week because we've had two sectional winners, and North White's got to talk yet. So good luck, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
All right. Ryan Harrington from the Tri-County Cavaliers. Back with more of the Coach's Cage on 3KGthecage.com after this.
Anders Water Conditioning in downtown Rensselaer is here for all of your water supplies and softening needs. At Anders, we sell and rent water softeners, water coolers, and have all of your bottled water and salt needs too. Call Chuck to set up your consultation today. 219-866-7430. Anders Water Conditioning, family owned since 1991.
After a hard day's work or play, it's time for some relaxation, and there's no better place than Unwind on Front Street in Rensselaer. For massage therapy, facials, spray tanning, yoga classes, and wellness, stop by Unwind. They also offer student athletes 30-minute massages for $25. Alina would like to thank Unwind's loyal customers for their patronage since 2016. To make an appointment, call Unwind at 219-869-0290.
Every day you listen to the news, but how is that news affecting your financial world? Things like your retirement and your kids' college fund. You need someone who can help you work towards your goals. Someone to help you move forward in the times of change. Call Mindy Byer at Morgan Stanley. Mindy has 20 years of experience as a financial advisor, and she's right here in Northwest Indiana. To make an appointment with Mindy Byer, call 765-420-8433. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney LLC, member SIPC.
Reinforcements Designs is a full-service graphic design, screen printing, and sign shop. They offer logo designs, screen printing, banners, signs, vehicle lettering and graphics, airbrushing, vinyl letterings, digital printed graphics, freehand engraving, and more. 37 years of design and graphics, Reem Bontrager will help you come up with a customized project of your ideal or plan. Just ask. Give Reinforcements Design a call at 219-866-8626 for your next graphic design project.
All right, back to the Coach's Cage. Another sectional championship. Winner is Ethan McCamick from the DeMott Christian Knights. Ethan, congratulations. Nice sectional title on Saturday night.
Thank you very much.
Well, where do we start, Bill? 10-game winning streak or let's start with the sectional championship game. Or sectional altogether.
Yeah. So we definitely got a good draw with avoiding Couts and Morgan and Washington. So we knew we'd have a pretty good shot to make it to the championship. And so we beat Hast, we beat Tri-Township, kind of took care of business with those two teams. And then obviously Couts pulled off a pretty big upset with Morgan, and so we met Couts in the championship. Couts is always super well coached.
On their home floor.
On their home floor, yep. So yeah, Kevin over at Couts, he's a great coach. He always has his guys really prepared, and so we kind of, I think a lot of people were expecting Morgan in that one, but we knew Couts was going to give them a good run for their money, and so being able to beat them on their home court was a big deal. They're talented, they're really young this year, and so we're not looking forward to playing them in the future, but we knew we had a good shot, and they had beaten us early in the season by about 10. It was a back and forth game. They hit some free throws at the end of the game to make it double figures, but we knew we had a shot. The guys were really excited and really took advantage of the opportunity.
You had a big lead, right?
Yes, we did at one point have a big lead. I think we had it to 17. So up in the fourth quarter, we started off fourth quarter really hot, and so hit a lot of shots, playing really good defense. They had a kind of an injury, unfortunately, happen, and so with one of their forwards, and so after that, it kind of opened up some driving lanes, and Lucas Kleckner on their team just really took advantage. Got to the free throw line a lot. We missed some bonehead free throws, had a couple turnovers, and so let them back in the game. They hit a shot as the clock expired, a bank three from super deep to make it 3. So we definitely made everybody sweat, made myself sweat a little bit, but held on. And in a sectional championship like that, they're not going to stop coming at you.
Who played well for you?
Luke Terpstra, he had 25, I believe. He had a great game. He did not hit a 3 either. So really just drove well, played really well in the paint, really solid. Jace Boltema and Tony Boss also had really good games. Jace had a double-double for us, and so really solid inside, taking advantage of all his inside looks and rebounding well for us. Tony went 3 for 7 from 3 and really started us off well. Hit a jumper right at the start of the game that really kind of, I think, got his feet under him, and he led us the rest of the game, just kind of steadied for us. So those 3 played really well, and then obviously the rest of the guys contributed in different ways.
So
How
like
about
big performances, clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, we're pretty well balanced. We got a lot of guys who can, go off for double figures any given night. And so Luke and Tony and Jace have typically been our leading scorers, and that was the three that led us in scoring. And so being able to rely on, Jace and Luke as seniors really was a big deal for us.
How about the rest of the sectional? Who'd you play and how'd you do?
So Hast, they're a talented team.
And what does that stand for?
Hammond Academy of Science and Technology.
Okay.
Hast. So a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
So we had played them really early on in the season and beaten them by 21. But they had been getting better all season. They got a new coach, and he's been doing some good things there. And so they're real athletic, and so we knew they'd give us their best shot that first game. They had already beaten Tri-Township, and so they were probably thinking if they can get through us, they can get to the championship as well. And so they came out, and they hung with us for a little bit. We had a really good third quarter, which kind of stretched it and put the game away. So they hit some tough shots, but we played really well. Gabe Rotier had a good game for us that game and led us. I think he had 15 that game. And then Tri-Township, again, they kind of hung around. We couldn't score well, but we held them pretty low in the first half. And then second half, we started knocking down shots and just really pulled away. But, they I know had some injuries at the end of the season and were a little bit banged up. So, but they fought hard, and we kind of were able to get our subs in at the end and give us a little bit of rest going into that championship game.
What does a sectional championship mean to your program?
It's a big deal. This senior class,
Third one.
Third one. Third one. So
Third one ever?
Yes. Yeah. So was it 3 and 7 years? So the school's only been around 20 some years.
Oh, yeah,
so no, it's a big deal. We got bumped up north with Washington and Morgan and Couts, and those are really tough programs in the PCC, and so being able to win that one is a big deal. I know. A lot of times we feel like a little brother to those schools, and they have really good culture. They bring the fans out, and so it was a big deal. Our fans really showed up. It was just deafening in the gym between our fans and Couts. Our student section showed up, and so it was a really fun atmosphere. And then we're really senior heavy this year. We have 6 seniors on varsity, 4 starters, and so for this group, they all multi-sport athletes. Had a really fantastic soccer season and lost to a tough Wheeler team in their sectional 1-0, who went on to win the sectional. And so this team had been really hungry for a playoff win. And so this was actually their first basketball playoff win, was the Hammond Academy game. And so that was a big deal just to get our feet under us and give us a little confidence going into those next 2. And so we got a really fun group of guys this year, and letting them, seeing them, have some success in the sectional this year was really cool to be a part of.
And what's their next step, Billy?
Coming up Saturday, want to encourage all the fans to, maintain their support for DeMont Christian, 19-7, and winners of 10 straight. They will match up against Marquette Catholic for the second time this season. Marquette Catholic comes in 11:15, and that's a 3 p.m. Central tip-off, right?
Yep.
And that's at South Bend, Washington, and there will be 2 games there. Also, the second contest is a 3A regional with John Glenn, 15 and I can't read my writing. 13-13. They're a 500 team against South Bend St. Joe, who comes in at 17-9. So, but the Knights take the court at 3 o'clock. And what's that like to play a team that you've already played? And you handle them by 10.
Yeah, they're a talented team. They're young, but they're super talented. Their record does not show how good they are. They play a pretty tough schedule for a 1A school, and so we're definitely not tricked by that. We knew kind of that one going into this season was going to be one of our tougher games, and so we were excited we got that one during the regular season. But yeah, it's a big deal. Last time we were in the regional round, I think 21st Century was in it, Fort Wayne Blackhawk was in it, and so you kind of see the writing on the wall when those 2 schools are waiting for you. And so this year, definitely there's some excitement. Hey, we could win this thing. And so
there was some D1 talent on those.
Yeah. Caleb First, I think dunked on one of my assistant coaches, or as the story goes. So there's definitely I think a bigger shot we can win this regional. And so, and that was obviously when it was a two game regional. Now it's a one game. So, the guys are excited. They're obviously not overlooking this Marquette team who, had a good draw and was able to pull out their tough sectional as well. And so they're excited and hungry to, hopefully get the first regional in our school history.
Will you get to go practice at South Bend?
Yeah, we're heading there tomorrow. So we got a little bit of a haul out to South Bend, so we'll make a night of it. Get out there, get comfortable at the gym, and hopefully set us up for some success on Saturday.
What's going to be the key Saturday?
They got some really talented guards, and then they got a pretty big guy in the middle that's 6'7", who blocks a ton of shots. And so being able to kind of control their guards, control their shooters, get good shots inside without getting too deep and getting the mess stuffed out of you is going to be tough for us. But we played last time we played. It was a really clean game, not a lot of turnovers on both sides. Everybody shot pretty well, and so. We're hoping defense can step up a little bit and we can still perform, offensively like we have been the past 10 games for us.
When you go up against a guy that's that big, what can you do? What do you stress to your players?
Yeah, a lot. He's 6'7" and his wingspan's probably longer. So I think a lot of guys, the moves they normally use on a big guy are not going to work. And so we're just trying to stress being smart, taking our shots, looking for good stuff. And, just being patient with it, because a lot of times what you think is there, is not. And so, we've been trying to extend defenders' arms with pads this weekend and just really give us a good look at playing against that extra length inside. And so just being really disciplined, which we've been all season. We really emphasize shot selection since I've got here, and the guys have kind of bought into that. And so we're hoping that kind of plays in our favor this weekend.
What's the attitude of your club?
They're excited. Like I said, they think they can win this thing. Obviously we've beaten them before. It's not a guarantee we're going to win again, obviously, but definitely they're hungry. Hopefully get past this regional round and then semi-state. Anything can happen, and so they're really, really excited for this chance to get to go play in South Bend against a team like Marquette and represent DeMont Christian.
Gee whiz, Ethan, you win this one. That's 20-win season. Did you envision that at all coming in to this year?
No. No. We were actually thinking about this the other day because at the beginning of the year, the guys set 3 goals. And the first one was win 16 games, which we got. Second one was win conference, which we got. And third one was win sectional, which we got. And so obviously we hit our 3 goals. And at this point, it's icing on the cake. And so being in a position where we, can play a team like Marquette who we think we can hang with and we think we can beat, is a big deal. We started off with a tough loss to Hebron at home, and I think that kind of brought us a little bit down to earth with this senior class and kind of made us reevaluate some things. And so, after we got healthy, after we got everybody back, we really started hitting a stride and have taken the opportunities we've gotten and executed well. And so I'm really proud of the guys for, starting off 1-3 at the beginning of the season and really putting together the season they have is impressive.
Small school like you guys are, has it been a fun week?
Yeah. I mean, that's, for a small community like DeMont, it's really cool. You get to talk to a lot of the alumni who were there for, a couple years ago when they won it. Just hearing stories about that, parents of kids.
I'll never forget that game at Tri-County.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I was actually there just as a fan. I had a friend who was teaching there and was like, "Hey, you like basketball? You want to come watch?" And I'm like, "All right." So
that was packed.
Yeah, no idea at that time that I would be coaching there in a couple years. So it was kind of cool to look back and reminisce with some of the guys about that. But yeah, just the community's awesome. The school has been great about celebrating and making a big deal about it because it is a big deal to these guys and these kids. So.
Well, Ethan, we had planned this was going to be our last night, but you and Tri-County have pushed us back another week, which it's fine with us. So we're going to let you go, and we'll talk next week, and hopefully talk about another week.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
All right, thanks a lot. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week. All
Yeah,
right.
thanks so much for having me.
Good luck.
Ethan McCamick from the DeMont Christian Knights have been our guest. Back and keep the DeMont theme going with Bill Shepard from Kankakee Valley right after this.
In agriculture, preparation is important. Dedication is you deciding what to plant and then asking what it will take for a good crop. How much work will it take to produce the final crop? In sports, preparation is vital in becoming the best you can be. Dedication is a will of achievements for a winning desire. Corbett Farms encourages everyone to do their best by having a winning spirit, attitude, and achievement. Your positivity will make a difference. Corbett Farms is proud to sponsor high school sports.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza, and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Midwest Contractor Services of Rensselaer, with over 15 years of experience, offers both insulation and gutter services for new construction and existing homes in Jasper, Newton, Lake, and Porter counties. You could save money and lower energy bills by adding more insulation to your house. New insulation project? Let Midwest Contractor Services offer you a custom insulation package that fits your needs. Leaves in your gutter? Let us give you a price on leaf protection products that really work and are affordable. Call Marty or Mark at Midwest Contractor Services today at 219-866-0755 and get an estimate for your project.
Reinforcements Designs is a full-service graphic design, screen printing, and sign shop. They offer logo designs, screen printing, banners, signs, vehicle lettering and graphics, airbrushing, vinyl letterings, digital printed graphics, freehand engraving, and more. 37 years of design and graphics, Reem Bontrager will help you come up with a customized project of your ideal or plan. Just ask. Give Reinforcements Design a call at 219-866-8626 for your next graphic design project.
Working with our customers has been Kentland Bank's trademark for 87 years. We're dedicated to making your visit a lasting one, and helping you achieve your goals is our #1 priority. With 5 locations, Kentland Bank offers all loans needed for today's businesses and families, including car loans, mortgages, agriculture, and commercial loans. We're here to make your busy life less hectic by offering online and mobile banking, bill pay, and P2P payments. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
There we go. Welcome back.
Jumping the gun again.
I'm just following your lead.
5 yards, false start.
Getting all floppy over there. Jeez, oh Pete's.
Take it away.
Man. Hey, joining us now is Kankakee Valley coach Billy Shepard, and in our cleanup spot tonight, maybe. I don't know.
Can't be the end of the season, can it?
I know.
It sure went
Fly
fast.
ball, yep.
It sure went fast, Billy. How about that Cougs this year? You had some good moments, really, that it seemed like you guys were going to be able to compete for this sectional. But, again, in 4A, you're just talking a little bit off the air. It's tough. You got to really be hitting on all cylinders, don't you? At the right time.
It's definitely 4A sectionals are definitely a grind, and Crown Point obviously.
Talent levels are just out of this world.
Well, yeah, and obviously the number of kids that you get to choose from, it does maybe not so much the high school level because they kind of sort themselves out by then a little bit, but. Like when you're playing a team like Crown Point, these kids have been competing for spots against 50 and 60 kids in the 6th grade, the 7th grade, the 8th grade. That's where the advantages really started showing up because then obviously they've had to compete for spots their entire. It's just different. Where our middle school levels, we're having we typically have an A and B team, but there's not a whole lot of choosing, or cutting or anything like that. Where they're cutting probably 20, 30 kids, and everybody else is competing for a spot on this squad or that squad, and it's just, like I said, that's where the advantages really happen, and then by the time they're high school, that everything's kind of sorted itself out a little bit, but still, it's just, you just can't replace that type of competition and that type of atmosphere and attitude for those 3 to 4 years, as you're coming up through and developing
players. So I think that's where the advantage really lies in at that level. So, but we drew Crown Point, Clint Swan, a 1991 Rensselaer grad, and so we go way back, and we're great friends. I mean, we text probably every week or every other week during the season and stuff, and just one of those. Crown Point was, I knew they were the best team overall in the sectional going in, and we'd have to play really well to beat them. And they just played as I figured they would. They were really prepared, played really well, and they went on to win that sectional, and they're probably going to win the regional too. And and they're pretty young to boot. So they started a couple sophomores, and a couple other sophomores come off the bench early for them. So they're going to be a menace at that 4A level for a few years still.
Overall in season, you guys finished 14-9. Is that right?
14-10 counting the sectional loss.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, and 4-2 in the Northwest Crossroads Conference, which was good for third place. So overall, I mean, it's not a bad season by any means.
No, record-wise, it was a pretty good year. We won 9 of our last 12 regular season games. So we had a pretty good run there at the end of the year. It's just just one of those things where we went through a lot of adversity during the year as well. Just a lot of. I think I was talking to a couple coaches over here. I think my coaching staff changed three different times during the season. Just people couldn't, got too busy or couldn't do it or whatever. And just, we dealt with a lot of adversity throughout the year, and credit to the kids and credit to everybody that just sticking with it and having the year we had, really, and it's just one of those things where hopefully we learn from everything as a group and just continue to build and as we look ahead to the future.
Who played good for you against Crown Point in the section?
Obviously Cam led us with 13 points, and but he'd be the first to tell you that he probably could have shot better. But it's one of those things where when you play against a team that's that well, that they're gonna defend you that well. Now how you normally come off that screen and you're comfortable making the shot, now you got to come off of it just a tick faster, and you got to get the shot up just a tick quicker, and now you're not gonna make it because you're not used to that. So those are the types of things that we dealt with that game all along. And but Cam played as well as he could have. I thought Brady Sampson, our junior forward, played pretty well as well. He was tasked with guarding their best player, who's a 6'6" sophomore, and or one of their top 2 players, held him to 4 points. So did well, but it's just so I think those two stood out amongst everybody as far as who played pretty well for us.
Let's talk about your seniors, how many you have, and tell us about them.
Oh, we had a total of 4 seniors on the team. One didn't play the last half of the year due to injury, but we'll get to that here in a second. Obviously, Cam Webster, 4-year starter for us. We're going to be missing him a lot next year. Set the school record in scoring, career scoring record. He now has 1,351 points as a career, and that's number 1 in KB history. So that's obviously a great accomplishment for him.
Is he going to go on to play any basketball?
Yeah, that's his plan. He's going to go on. He's going to, he doesn't know where yet. I know he's getting some Division III looks, and he's also starting to think about some prep school options now too. So, which he's a really young senior too. He doesn't turn 18 until August. So so it's one of those things where that might be a pretty good route for him. So he's looking at those 2 levels. But like I said, it's just going to be weird not hearing his name being introduced, because we've heard it be introduced for 4 straight years. So it's just going to be very, very weird to not hear it introduced. Jeremiah Jones, he was our starting center he was starting power forward last year, starting center this year, 6'5" senior. Great kid. He's one of those kids that he was just kind of burst on the scene as a sophomore a little bit, really. On the JV team, just kind of burst on the scene as a sophomore, and then obviously followed up with a couple of pretty good years as a junior and senior for us. Made all-conference first team last year, and I think we haven't had our all-conference voting yet, but he's definitely up for that again this year. So that's he's just a great kid. And obviously the future's bright for him, and off the basketball floor. He's obviously looking at, he's taking some aviation classes right now and looking into doing some of those things. So he's got a future ahead of him. Colin Ruther is a senior. He was a bench player for us this year. Played through a sophomore year, then didn't play after a sophomore year, and then decided to come back out as a senior this year. Great kid, super kid. Just loved having him around. He was a great team guy. Like I said, just a tremendous kid of heart. And he started a senior night against us or for us, and did well that night. And you could just tell the joy he had in sticking out and coming back out. I think he was pretty happy that he made the decision to come back out this year. And the one that didn't play the last half of the year due to injury was Jake Anderson. He started for us earlier in the year, but had just some consistent or recurring leg issues that just kind of kept him from really developing how he wanted to. It was just a situation where he was just like, Coach, I want to keep playing, but I just can't keep playing, but I want to stick around. So he was with us all the way on the minutes too, and being very supportive. So kind of like having another assistant coach sitting there, But it was just another great kid. So I mean, I can't say enough about how all four of those are just great individuals, and very proud to have had the opportunity to coach them.
Future?
You mean like down the road?
About next year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we returned a couple of, obviously we returned Brady Sampson as a starter. We started 2 juniors. Our point guard is Mabi Lalande, and our JV had about a 500 record as well. We got a 6'7", our backup center, 6'7" junior Gavin Joy. We returned him. You can't teach 6'7", One of the things that I need to do a better job of as I get into the future, though, is like, we all come here and talk about the records and stuff like that, and wins are good and losses are bad and stuff like that. But I mean, let's be honest, no coach you talk to here on any week is going to have anybody that's going to make a living playing this game.
No.
It's just, one of the things sometimes I think is I think I need to check myself this year is I think I got away from some of the things that I would normally not tolerate because, hey, I want a couple more wins. And why? I mean, once again, nobody's going to make $1 million from this area playing basketball, and while wins are great and stuff, I mean, I think our main focus has to be, getting people ready to be good fathers, good husbands, good people in society, and teaching those types of lessons. And I'm not saying that I didn't do that. I'm just saying that I'm just saying I need to do a better job of making sure that's the number one focus that we have going forward. So as far as the future goes, that's going to be my number one thing. Now we do move down to 3A.
Will that change schedule, or will that change your philosophy? What will that change?
Well, it'll change our schedule. I mean, I don't think it should change the philosophy a whole lot. I mean, I don't see the reason in playing as many 4A teams as we do anymore. Especially since we know we're going to be 3A for quite some time. If it was one of those where we would be bouncing back and forth every couple of years, then that's different. But we're not going to be doing that. So so there's no reason to play the slew of 4A teams that we
more
play.
Where you should be 3A.
Correct.
I think.
Correct. I mean, there's just more the community that we are. To be honest about it.
Right.
You'll remain in the Northwest Crossroads Conference.
Correct. And most of those schools other than Munster, they're mostly all 3As now, because Highland Hobart's one of the smaller 4As, but Highland and Lowell are down to 3A now after this year, so they're mostly all 3As too, except for Munster. So the schedule will change a little bit, but as far as things go, I think over the summer, and I think we need to work more on skills. We've been so concerned with playing a lot over the summers that I think we've kind of forgotten the skills. And I think in the summer we just need to work more on. We need to work on our shooting ability, our ball handling ability, things like that, rather than playing 30 games in the month of June. So that's gonna be a little different. But I think we've kind of let that lax a little bit, looking back on it. So those are some things that we could always adjust as well as and that's what you do. You kind of live and learn. I mean, I know I'm not a first year coach, but you always try to find that balance, and sometimes you go overboard on one way, and you got to correct. And I think we kind of went overboard on the summer games. I think we got to correct and get our skills back up to speed.
Billy, how is the middle school programs? You see some kids coming up that might be able to contribute down the line here, whether it be JV next year or whatever.
Well, they're all the middle school program teams we had this year were right around the 500 mark, like either a game up or a game down. But they play a really tough schedule down there as well, which that's something that as we talk about, if we're going to be 3A, then maybe they need to adjust that a little bit too. There's no reason to play Ground Points and Chestertons and stuff down there if we're not going to be having to worry about playing them up here. So so that's one thing that we can start looking at. But our eighth grade class might not be. Once again, we need to work on skill. Might not be the best basketball players in the world, but long, lanky athletes. So that's good. It's a good start.
Sure.
Now we just got to work on those skills and get that better. In our seventh and sixth grade class are a couple of classes that have a lot of basketball players that are pretty solid. So as we come up through the system, it's good. Obviously, it takes a few years for the middle schoolers to get up there, but yeah, it's looking pretty good from that standpoint, especially being a 3A school. So.
All right, Billy, let's go over the last time to talk. I know you got some thank yous to the people that really helped your program, so take it away.
Oh, definitely. Well, first and foremost, my parents, they're obviously my biggest fans and biggest supporters, and they just want me to be happy with whatever I do, and that's Dad. I don't know if I can talk to Dad without talking basketball. That's just kind of our language, and then Mom gets mad. And then tries to change the subject almost every 5 seconds. But parents are just. Obviously they're great people, very very helpful and very supportive. Got to thank the, speaking of parents, the parents of all the players. It's not easy. Working your schedule around basketball, especially with, we got snow day now, we can't practice today, or hey, practice got switched because of this tomorrow, or our game tonight got canceled and now it's rescheduled for next week Wednesday or whatever. They work. It's not like they're just sitting home doing nothing.
Right.
So they're, just having having to balance your life around what your son does is just foreign to me, being a single guy, but I just can't imagine all that. So definitely have to thank them for everything that they do, all the work they put in, the team meals they do, but just all the support that they provide each and every player. It's just magnificent having such a family structure for all those guys, and obviously thanking the players. Basketball's a long season. It's winter season in general is just a long season, and the ability to kind of practice every day from beginning of November to the beginning of March, and putting forth your best effort every day. That takes a lot of maturity for a young person, and just their attention to detail, their respect, their willingness to do what's asked of them. As a coach, you just can't thank them enough for doing stuff like that. So, thanking my coaching staff. And my JV coach Brett Walther, my assistant coach Cody Scott, they're super supportive of me. They got my back all the time. I just want to thank them for all the hard work they put in, and basically the hard work is just keeping me sane most of the time. Especially when things aren't going as well as they have to go, or just being my person, people I vent to first. Not last, but first. I'll vent to 3 or 4 people, but they're usually the first line, and then obviously thanking the administration at KB for giving me the opportunity to continue to do this, and the school board. They're just a great support from the school board as well. I just can't thank them enough for all the support that they provide. So I'm just really thankful for all that. So there's thanks at all levels, but and I'm sure I'm missing and forgetting people, but. It takes so much to have a good successful basketball program, and it takes everybody.
You've been around a long time. Is it still enjoyable each year for you?
Yeah, it is. The challenges are always fun. And what I like about high school coaching is every year is different. Like as a college coach, you can kind of recruit to your scheme or your personality, but at high school level, it's kind of like you get what you get coming up. Where like this class might be tall athletes that are quiet. This class might be short guards that are ornery. Just whatever. But the challenge of being a high school coach is always I've always found it being kind of unique as far as just the opportunity to mend. Sure, you got what you want to do, but obviously you got to amend it every year a little bit depending on what you got. So the challenge of that is always enjoyable. Year round is, I'll be really honest, I don't think year round is very fun. I'd rather golf more in the summertime, to be 100% honest about it. But if you're going to be, if you are going to have a successful winter, I mean, you have to do some stuff in the summertime. And but I don't think you're going to have any coach tell you that the year-round stuff is fun. But yeah, it's still a very enjoyable experience. Still fun, and it's just your relationships that you build with the kids is what really matters. So,
Billy, one thing I meant to bring up, and I always forget to do this, but you see some big changes in the rules this year with the fouls situation. Going instead of 7 per half foul. But do you think there'll ever be a shot clock for high school basketball?
Yes. I mean, ever is a long time, so yes. I mean, there will be. I mean, at one point I thought it was going to be sooner than I think it is now. I think it's a little more down the road now than I thought it was. And I think it's just more of a cost issue for schools, not just the cost of installing it, but then the cost of you got to have an extra person to run it during games, and that costs money and stuff like that. And so I think it's a little further down the road than I thought it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, it'll eventually come in. The foul rule this year, not the hugest of fans of that. I don't mind the quarter resets, but maybe like instead of doing 5 fouls, you get 2 shots. Maybe 4 fouls in the quarter, you get 1 on 1. And if it comes to 6, you get 2 in the quarter. I just think there were times where at the end of a game in particular, you just kind of, this guy's got 2 shots to make 1 or whatever, and I mean, just kind of took a little bit of the pressure off of the person at the line, So I mean, I don't mind the thought process, but I think maybe if we could just meet somewhere in the middle with that would be a little bit better, And I also saw teams that, hey, we got 2 fouls at the end of the first quarter, at the end of the half, let's just start burning them,
Mm-hmm.
That's coaching and all, but I don't know if that's what the rule was intended for either.
Right.
So
right.
So those, but that would probably be a discussion for another day. So.
All right, Billy. Thanks for coming in each week. We really do appreciate it. And enjoy your off season. Play a little golf. All right.
I will do that. No doubt about that. Thank you very much,
Thank
fellas. Thanks. Yep.
Phil Shepard from the Kankakee Valley Cougars. Back to wrap things up with Chad Pulver from the Rensselaer Central Bombers right after this.
Pulver Psychological Services offers psychological counseling, consultation, and assessment. Locally owned and operated, Pulver Psych focuses on solutions for the community and serves as support for individuals, families, and organizations. Whether you're in need of personal, family, or success counseling, Pulver Psychological Services can help you reach your life goals, increase work satisfaction, have better relationship compatibility, improve sports performance. Get in touch with Pulver Psychological Services by visiting pulverpsych.com.
Hi, this is Chuck Clark with the Underwood Insurance Agency, formerly Preferred Insurance Group. Are you tired of being sacked every month with your auto insurance bill? Do you feel you just pay your premium to your agent and never hear from them? We at the Underwood Insurance Agency work with over 10 insurance carriers to get you our best rate and coverage we can, and we pride ourselves on serving our customers like they are our family. We are conveniently located in Remington and Lafayette. We can be reached at underwoodagency.com. Reach out to us to score big savings.
High-quality, personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117, or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics.
At Applegate Seed House, we specialize in any and all small seed project needs. This includes government programs, CRP, pollinators and waterways, pasture mixes, and new lawn seed. Applegate Seed House is located 2 miles north of Brook, Indiana, and 2.5 miles east of Highway 41. Call Sam at 765-363-3113. That's Sam at Applegate Seed House, 765-363-3113.
24/7 Club Fit is a 24-hour keycard accessed fitness center located in downtown Rensselaer. The 8,000 square foot facility offers free weights, weight machines, and a large variety of cardio equipment. We also offer free aerobics classes. 24/7 Club Fit offers 6-month contracts starting as low as $25 per month for students, those 55 years and older, and there are no sign-up or keycard fees. We also participate in the Silver Sneakers program. Call 219-866-0033 or contact us on Facebook. 24/7 Club Fit, where time is no excuse.
Welcome back to the Coach's Cage Show here, live from Arnie's Pizzeria in Rensselaer. And joining us now is Rensselaer Central Bomber coach Chad Pulver. And Coach, we'll talk a little bit about the end of the season for you guys, and ended kind of a disappointing season after last year was so successful, and everything just but a hair away from that sectional championship, but that banner just came short. But this year, it seemed like it would kind of drag down a little bit for you guys.
We took some lumps, that's for sure. We had some ups and downs and couldn't seem to quite get the rhythm back for ourselves in February. We started trying to turn some things around in December and tried some things and worked for a little while and got a couple really nice wins in there, and seemed like we were going to get some things going. And then, things just, there's a rhythm to the season sometimes, and we did not seem to find the right rhythm at the right time of the season. And I think that was difficult for us, and it played out toward the end there. Really after Winnemac, which was such a great game for us, and then the next handful of games, even some of the wins were struggles.
Sure.
And being up and then not being able to put them away cleanly, or having teams put a run on and making it tighter than necessary. And so it wasn't because we didn't have effort or that we weren't trying to make things happen. It just didn't seem to hit with the execution at the right time.
Consistency, it seemed like,
we were very Jekyll and Hyde, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about that very thing. I don't know if we were on the air when we talked about it, but we've talked about that Jekyll and Hyde, the up and the down, and sometimes we just wanted to be in the middle, and we couldn't quite stay there. I mean, and that's tough because it's hard for the players. They're trying to figure it out. I know they're trying to figure out the chemistry for what they're going to do on the floor together, and then it hits the X's and O's, and how they cut, or where their confidence is, or how they're shooting or not shooting. And so that's stuff that plays out. And so we're hopeful that some of the younger guys who went through this and were part of that will grow and see where they might be able to step in and make some changes as we grow as a unit and as a program forward.
Talk about the sectional game that you played.
So we were at Frankfurt, against Frankfurt, and the first quarter started out, we ended that first quarter up by 10 points. It just controlled the game, controlled the pace, controlled the boards, made inside shots, made and ones, and we really were playing well. And then the second quarter came, and it was the monster of the turnovers happened again. And so those turnovers, going from being able to start and complete a possession, those turn into 4 or 5 point swings when you don't score anything, and then they can come down and hit a 2 or a 3, and so those really hurt us. And then as that game wore on, they were able to, at times almost it seemed, blindly pass the ball 3/4 court, and they had someone running under it and scoring a layup. And so even when we were trying to make adjustments, the execution of that adjustment we didn't get it right. And with that, it got out of hand. And so we made a little bit of a run back at them, but it wasn't enough to close it more than 7 or 8 points, I think. And so,
were you down at half already?
Yes, we were down at half. So we had given
that whole lead.
Yes, the lead was chomped up.
Wow.
And so then we were coming out of half, trying to regain some of what we were trying to do, trying to regain where we're going. So we went from scoring, I think we had 17 points in the first quarter and only scored 6 in the second. And so, I mean, we went from really hitting on all cylinders to not doing much of anything. And,
So it's not only consistency on a season, but consistency within a game.
Yes, and that game seemed to reflect a lot of what happened throughout the season. It was we did well rebounding. This team for the season, this last season, were one of the best offensive rebounding teams in Bomber history. I mean, we have so many offensive rebounds, and we're in the top 2 or 3 teams ever to play in Rensselaer. And so we did some things well all season. Well, Graham Drone, for example, is in the top 10 of 3 points made, and that's really in 2 seasons, just last year and this year. And that shows that we did some things that were there that provided sparks that could have turned into very positive things, but we gave the ball away way too many times. The turnovers really got to us, and especially at the end of the season when a lot of teams were starting to really ramp up, getting their pressure better, figuring out what they were going to do, starting to see where those chapters of a game seemed to happen and playing through it, and we didn't seem to have that same bounce that we were hoping to get.
How many seniors? And talk about them, if you would.
So we had 5 seniors this year, one of which was Adam Ayler, who started the season on a broken leg that happened in the end of the football season in the sectional tournament. And he was able to get back for a few games, which was, I think, really nice for him. And then in the game against West Central, took a really hard foul and ended up breaking his finger. And so then it took him out again. And so that was tough. Adam is, he's a fun guy. He gets along well with everybody. He's one of the favorite guys in the locker room and on the sideline. And so to not allow him to have a little bit more playing time or to be around was, I think, pretty tough for him. Dylan Lazatter was our manager last year, and he was able to spend time in the off season, in the summer, in the preseason with us, and ended up earning a starting spot by the end of the season and playing very well, rebounded very well. Was a guy that I think from top to bottom the players loved him. One of our favorite stories of him of the summer was he dove for a loose ball, ends up splitting his eye open and has a scar on it, and it was like that moment on, it was like, all right, you're one of us, you get it. And so he was always just there in anything we asked him to do, and just, a good spirited kid and really wanting to be a part of what we're doing and enjoyed the process of it. And
have you ever had that before, a manager turn into a player?
No, I have not. I've had a player turn into a manager, but never the opposite way. But it was one of those things, Dylan had moved, I think, during middle school or something, and so then when he came back, he had to take care of some stuff on his family side, and so this was the first year that he was prepared and had spent the whole off season preparing to be part of it. Last year when he was our manager, he just wasn't ready to play. He wasn't ready for varsity level, and so he was around. He did everything we asked him to, and in that process asked if he could be able to learn and grow with us, and so we said absolutely, and he took us up on it and ended up being a really good thing. And then Caden Rowland did a great job for us, ended up being able to play a whole season as opposed to last year when it was cut short with his ACL surgery, and so really did a lot of really positive things for us. Such a strong kid, and when he gets going and is on balance and handles the ball and can go up through it, there were times where we asked him to guard on the inside and what we call mouse in the house, and he goes inside in the paint, and there are other times where it was the Winnemet game, he hit 5 threes, and so he had a little bit of an inside out game, and he was a guy that we get in there and bang for the rebounds, and so that was really special to see that. And then Jack Chapman, who's also a senior, ended up being able to play a whole season this year. He hasn't touched the floor since his sophomore year, and so had the year off in there and had to work off a little bit of rust. He's been playing AAU and doing other things and practicing, but as far as being able to be at that varsity level and being the guy with the keys, and ended up doing very well, led the team in assists this year, and so it was nice to have him back. And as the season went on, started to be little bit more assertive, a little bit more aggressive of driving the rack and getting in there and realizing that he could take advantage of people that weren't quite ready for his quickness. And so it was really special to see him be able to do that and to have a positive season out of it. And then Graham Drone was the fifth one. And, Graham is a 4-year guy with us and, put a lot of time and effort into being able to put himself in the right positions. And, we specifically put one of our offenses in to try to get him the ball at the top of the key or at the 3-point line, simply because we like being able to feed him in a catch and shoot situation. And, this year he made the most threes on the team. He's in the top 10 of, 3 points made for the Bombers. And so we were trying to get him to be able to do that as much as possible. And so those are the 5 seniors. And we're
sure to get some more drones coming up, right?
We have at least 2 more. And so
that's a good thing.
Yeah, Beck will be a sophomore. So he'll be the third brother of the Tate, Graham, Beck, and Merrick. And so Beck will be a sophomore next year, and he had a really nice first year playing on the JV squad, and some of the leaps and bounds he had with being able to take care of the ball, control the ball, score the ball. Defensively, I think he got a little bit better at what he was doing, and so we see a lot of really cool things coming up for Beck. And then Merrick will be a 8th grader next year, so he just finished his 7th grade season. So those are the last 2 boys of that Jack and Jana Drone family, and then their cousin Carson Drone will be a freshman next year. So we'll have the drones back together again. So
if they all shoot as well.
Well, that's the hope.
Yeah. Let's talk about the future of the Bombers for next year.
Well, we have 14 guys that are hopefully returning, not including any of the incoming freshmen or first-year guys that would be coming in across the parking lot there. But of that, we have some juniors that have been around the game, have grown quite a bit, with Corbin Matthew and Dalton Lynch and Chase Van Meter and Darius Lapsley and Brian Camarina. So there's 5 guys right there that, all had varsity experience this year. All were able to be a part of what we're doing all season long. And I think that if we can continue to grow that process or that skill set for what we need, we know we need to get more ball handling involved. And so if we just talk skill sets, we need someone who's going to grow into the point guard position. We can ask Corbin to be a point guard for us, but that's not his natural set. The natural set is more of a 2-3 position. And so trying to find someone who's going to move into that point guard position, whether that's going to be someone that we literally pull aside and get them to grow that skill, or if it's someone that has a skill set that we haven't asked. Chase Van Meter is another guy who I think can grow into that, and so we need someone who wants to do that, wants to maybe be the person who is going to take that pressure and help orchestrate and help lead from that position. And so
that's about as important a role as you can have, isn't it?
It's very important. I think overall, teams don't win in the tournament, whether it's high school or college, and potentially even in the professional ranks now, without a good point guard. You need to have ball handling. You need to have ball control. You need to have someone who's willing to take that pressure and move through that and deliver the ball when it's needed, and to orchestrate other guys on what to do. And so we need to foster that. We need to grow that, and it's something that we've known, and we have worked on those things in the off season, and some guys have taken that on and are improving, but we know that's a high need for us right now.
Have you challenged the guys that are coming back to do anything specifically? Would it be weight room, more time in the gym, just getting stronger, developing a closer relationship between each other? What would be number one on that list, or is there something else?
Well, we did have a meeting. So we lost on Wednesday night last week, and then Thursday after school we had a meeting, and we had 5 questions on the board, and we asked them about team goals and personal goals, and we asked them about off-season and what they wanted. Are they really to the point where they don't want to come together and do anything together in the summer? Because if that's the feedback, then we as coaches have to adjust. It's not mandatory. Coaches think it is, but it's really not. You can't force anyone to do anything, and we want it to be something they want to be a part of. But we also understand that we need to hold a standard for what we need them to do. And so the idea that, we just want to come in and play. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that you're going to play half court? You're not going to run? You're only going to jog? Like, what are we talking about? And so that was part of what we discussed, is what does it really mean for us to grow the program? How do we want to be competitive? How do we want our season to end? Not like this is usually the way it goes. I mean, the 23-24 season is over, and I don't think any of us would have written it this way and said this is what we want. I think that the 5 seniors is all the way down to those first year guys. No one was happy after this game. No one felt like that was our best effort. We did everything we could. That was just the way it goes. I think that all of us in that locker room felt like we missed an opportunity. We missed an opportunity to extend our season, to try to do some things differently. But the reality is that the season starts Thursday last week. That's the 24-25 season. That's when it starts. And so we're putting a lot of pressure on them to say, what is it that you want? And so, yes, we've asked them about what sort of skill development. How do they want to get more experience playing? Is it going to be you guys are getting together at the park? You're going to someone's house? Where are you going? How are you going to play? What's going to happen? I don't know that more orchestrated and completely controlled environments is really going to help their chemistry right now. Coming into gym with us as coaches who are just going to stand there and tell them what to do isn't really what's going to help them. They need to be able to not only play well together, but I think work through things together. How do they problem solve? Who's hot? Who's got the hot hand? Feed them, because you want to be king of the court. And so part of what we have talked about as coaches is how can we create as competitive an environment as we can every night that we play. And if that means getting alums to come back, if that means getting people in the community to come back and play, so that way there is competition, and you have to play well in order to keep playing. And so then that breeds that level of the top down of who's gonna make the step, who's gonna improve. And so we're trying to make that happen, as well as having someone who is just going to be catch and finish in the post, having someone who can knock down the open shots. I mean, that's one of the things that hurt us, is there were a few games where there was a cover on the basket. Didn't matter if we were shooting 2 feet or 20 feet, it wasn't going in, and those are very difficult nights.
Chad, are there enough leaders on this team?
I think there's always the potential of people being leaders. I think that's my approach, not only in coaching, but I think in life, in that you don't have to have the label to be a good leader. And I think that that's really important for all of us in life, but I think it's very important for young men to understand that you don't have to have the C on your chest. You don't have to have that special pin that says, I'm the boss. You can be a leader. Freshmen can be a leader. They can be the ones who take advantage of, okay, every day I'm going to make sure the gym is clean. Every day I'm going to make sure that we have the balls put away. I'm going to make sure there's 18 balls on the rack, not 17. Like, those are leadership qualities. That's someone taking care of something and taking on the responsibility to do that. And I think from the youngest guy to the oldest guy to the as far as pecking order, I think that what I hope more than anything else is that we're trying to teach guys how to be leaders, and to realize that sometimes the most important thing you can do as a leader is to know when to follow someone else. And it doesn't mean you're always right. It means that you know when you are out of your element and someone else needs to take that front step, and then to fall in line until it's time for you to step back up. And I think that that's not an easy lesson to learn. I think for a lot of us, we feel like I'm supposed to be the leader, therefore I'm always supposed to have the last word. And that doesn't always work. And I think that it trips up a lot of us all the time. And so I think that it's lessons to be learned, and the more time that they're together and the more time that we're with them, I think the more opportunity we have to help them grow into that leadership, and help them become a better squad together.
Chad, your Rensselaer's dropping from 3A to about the middle of pack of 2A. What are your thoughts on that, and will that change anything?
I change anything? I don't know if it'll change anything. I think it does seem to take off that pressure of, okay, we're 2A, we've got to win it this year. And it's always hard to win a sectional. It's always hard to put a run on in the tournament. It doesn't matter if you're 3A or 2A. However, being in a 2A level is more reflective, I think, of who we are as a community. I think being a rural area with a 2A moniker, it tends to reflect us more, and the overall school set that we might be challenged with is going to be more reflective of who we are now. And in a 3A, we're going against schools that have, they have a larger population. They have more options available to them. And so sometimes that does feel a little bit overwhelming, but it doesn't mean that we can't compete there. I think it's the opposite. We expect to compete there. We expect to win those games. It just, the level of perfection or close to perfection becomes that much more thin. You have much more, less room for error when you're playing up a class. And so, we have a very strong conference we play in, and most of those teams are all going to be 3 and 4A schools. And so for us, we know we're going to be exposed to that, and I think that's very important for us being where we are to realize how high that level of play is. And so I'm satisfied with us being at 2A. I think it'll be a good reflection of us, but I think that having that exposure to the early season in Lafayette, where we're playing against 4A schools and 3A schools, and as our conference goes on, being mostly 3A schools there. If we cross to the other side, there's more 4A schools, and then rolling down, we've had a long history with Lowell as a 4A school. So I don't know if they're dropping to 3A or not. I know that Kage, for example, is dropping to 3A, but it'll be interesting, to say the least. I think that some of the things they've tried to do overall with the basketball for boys and girls, I think has at least demonstrated that they're letting go of that stronghold of we have to do it the same way as we've always done it. And I think we're starting to try new things and see what works and maybe what doesn't work.
Did we ask Chad about the middle school and the younger program yet, or not?
We have not, have we?
We're not today.
No.
So we have a number of 8th graders that we expect to move over. I think that they have had a solid team. That 8th grade class has a good number of guys that significant number with some basketball knowledge. 7 or 8 of them, I think, would be what I would expect to roll over.
Can any jump into the JV level? Or?
Well, I think that's probably what we'll have to do. I think our numbers are going to dictate a lot of those guys are going to have to get that JV experience. I don't know that we'll have enough guys to run that C team level. That's pretty difficult for us to have just a freshman or C team by itself. And so we would expect them to have to come in. If we have enough numbers where we could go 10 on one side of the floor and 10 on the other side of the floor, then that gives us full access to being able to every day keep that competitive juice going on the JV side as well as on the varsity side. And so if we can do that, then as the season goes on, we might be able to get some of those younger guys to be able to have a specialty game. I think KV every year has a 9th grade or C team tournament, and so to even have some of those younger guys just go for 1 or 2 games on their own, I think would be really healthy for them. And so I think that we can see a good, strong, 18 to 22 guys that maybe would be part of the program next year, which is what we need. We need to make sure that our numbers are, it's not always about number. We need competitiveness, but one of the best ways to build competitiveness is every day you're pushing for something. You're trying to win something over, and when you feel like it's the same story every day of who's supposed to start or who's going to get the time, then it doesn't feel like your effort does the same thing you need it to.
I want to throw something by you. We were shooting the breeze here early in the night, and with some of the coaches. What would you think about let's start a community thing to get Richard F. Sharp opened up and have a holiday tournament there?
Go for it.
Would you think that would fly?
No.
No.
I think you'd be hard pressed to get St. Joe to open it up. I think the community would love it. I think the teams around here would love it. I think it'd be a great atmosphere. I love that gym. I mean,
one of the coolest around. That's for sure.
It's fantastic. I mean, I played my collegiate career there. I love it.
Right.
But I
too
don't.
Too many roadblocks.
That would be my perspective on it. So if someone can make it happen, then fantastic. I'd be happy to take the guys over there and play. I'd be happy to be a part of something like that. But I don't have a lot of optimism that it would happen.
Before I let you go, last time I always got to give you an opportunity for thank yous. You got a lot of people that contribute to your program, so take it away.
Well, first and foremost, honestly, I think it's important for me to acknowledge my wife, Rachel, allowing me to have a few months to be able to be in high competition with the high school guys, and then the rest of the year even tolerating me as I were going into off season and still doing a lot of the same type of hours. But
Do you take the game home with you?
I wish I said I didn't, but I absolutely do. And
depending on if you win or lose, right? It's
yeah,
a good night.
I mean, I try. I really do. I try to kind of let go of things when I get home. But there are some nights where it really doesn't stay at the gym because I want it to be better for the guys.
Do you watch a game at home over again or not?
I watch a lot of film. So yeah, I'll watch the film at home. If I know I'm having a more difficult time, I will go to my office and I'll watch it in my office just because it gives me space. It keeps me from, when I'm venting or trying to work things out, I'm not turning it on to ruining other people's day. So, but it's not always negative. I mean,
right.
Just like, when things go well, it's fun. I mean, my wife comes to all the games. She travels. She's at the home games, and so she's there. She loves the boys like I do. She's very much a part of what we do, and so and then that folds into the parents as well. The parents are very important for the boys, and they traveled well this last year. I think that's one of the things that I really appreciate the most about Rensselaer is that the families are so tied into what their kids are doing. They will travel. They will go to sometimes very long distances, it seems like, for in the middle of the week game, and they're still there and they're supporting their boys and the players, and they're supporting the other kids involved. And they took it upon themselves to make sure the boys had some food after games to come home. And I tend to be very hands-off with that kind of stuff. There's certain times and certain years where that's not a big deal to the families, and I don't want to have the expectation that you have to feed the players before or after, or that you have to do something. And so this was a year where they really took it upon themselves to make sure the players had something to eat, make sure the players had snacks after the game, and that's great. That's really important. And then that goes into just being able to thank the players. I mean, I enjoy so much being able to go and be part of this game and being able to do that on a regular basis. And I'm not the only coach who is going to say this tonight, but the winter season is tough. Whether you're wrestling or swimming or playing basketball, it is a long, cold, dark season. And the hope is that it's worth the time, it's worth the effort, and you build some memories that you're going to be able to keep. And so I appreciate the boys coming in. We have our routines of morning jumpers and then basketball after school and then traveling on the road and being able to watch film and talk about film and learn, and then hopefully get some life lessons out of it. But being able to work with these 14 through 18, 19-year-olds is a lot of fun. I really do appreciate that. And then that takes me to being able to talk about the administration at Rensselaer Central and the athletic director and the principal and vice principal. It was almost daily conversations going in and just having a few minutes at the end of school to check not only on the boys, but to have a couple conversations. How are things going? What's the mood of the school? Because I don't work there, it really was important for me, and I'm very thankful to be able to sit down and talk to Mr. Jones and Mrs. Kasiva or Mr. Hickman and just, what's happening. Oh, there's a bad, the flu's going around, be aware of this. Or, hey, the exams are coming up, be aware. I mean, that kind of information is very helpful to me because it helps me stay grounded into what's really going on around me. And then looking at the coaches, looking at Colin and Brant and Carrie, they've done everything I've asked, watching film, staying up late, traveling, transporting the boys here and there. I work at Purdue 2 days a week, and on the mornings that I was gone, Coach Schmid would come and pick up Calden and make sure that he was getting to morning jumpers in the morning. And so, that level of just trust and reliability is so important to me, to be able to know that when I'm not there, one of the other guys is stepping up and making sure the guys our players have the opportunity to be able to shoot or have access to gym or be able to have someone there to watch out for them. And so I really enjoy that. I appreciate that. And then, every game is an event. and Mr. Meek showing up and playing music for us, the band showing up and playing music, the scores table, making sure that they're there and putting them up on the the programming of making sure all this stuff happens when it's supposed to happen, and the concession stand and having food available. Like, it's all part of the event, and I think that we put on a pretty nice event when we have a home game, and I think it's a nice atmosphere, and the community coming out and supporting that, and hopefully seeing some basketball that they appreciate and enjoy is important. So I'm very happy to be able to be a part of this, and look forward to how we might be able to grow and get some wins back in the book, and keep our boys growing and being good people and good citizens, and making this a big part of their formative years.
Well, Chad, Bill and I really appreciate you, first of all, being a sponsor of 3KG from day one. We couldn't do it without you and all the fine sponsors, and we appreciate coming in each week and talking to us after the games. It's always a blast doing Bomber basketball, and we appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate
Not
you
like
guys
your
coming.
schedule's too short or anything. So I know we had some time to that too, and it's like I second that with what Bob said, because the coaches have been such a strong part. We couldn't do this show if the coaches didn't show up, and
got a great bunch of
it
coaches.
starts football and goes all the way through basketball, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
We
Better
appreciate
than we
you
could
guys.
have hoped.
Well, we appreciate you guys being around, and I know that you guys traveling around and trying to get all the local games in there, and trying to get when we play each other and what gyms are going to be in. And so I think that I'm not the only one who would say this, but it's great when you guys are there. I think we're very happy to have you guys being able to talk about our boys, about our programs, being able to help and just promote a game that, honestly, people have a lot of other options. They can sit home and watch any game that they want to watch anywhere in the world with any sport, and to be able to make it to where they have an option to be able to watch Indiana basketball from our area, I think is great. And so I appreciate you guys doing that.
All right. Have a good off season. Okay?
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks.
Chad Pulver from the Rensselaer Center Bombers back to wrap things up before we head into one last week, maybe. We say it depends on Trey County and DeMont Christian. So back after this on the Cage.
Hi, this is Chuck Clark with the Underwood Insurance Agency, formerly Preferred Insurance Group. Are you tired of being sacked every month with your auto insurance bill? Do you feel you just pay your premium to your agent and never hear from them? We at the Underwood Insurance Agency work with over 10 insurance carriers to get you our best rate and coverage we can, and we pride ourselves on serving our customers like they are our family. We are conveniently located in Remington and Lafayette. We can be reached at underwoodagency.com. Reach out to us to score big savings.
After a hard day's work or play, it's time for some relaxation, and there's no better place than Unwind on Front Street in Rensselaer. For massage therapy, facials, spray tanning, yoga classes, and wellness, stop by Unwind. They also offer student athletes 30-minute massages for $25. Alina would like to thank Unwind's loyal customers for their patronage since 2016. To make an appointment, call Unwind at 219-869-0290.
Midwest Contractor Services of Rensselaer, with over 15 years of experience, offers both insulation and gutter services for new construction and existing homes in Jasper, Newton, Lake, and Porter counties. You could save money and lower energy bills by adding more insulation to your house. New installation project? Let Midwest Contractor Services offer you a custom insulation package that fits your needs. Leaves in your gutter? Let us give you a price on leaf protection products that really work and are affordable. Call Marty or Mark at Midwest Contractor Services today at 219-866-0755 and get an estimate for your project.
Every day you listen to the news, but how is that news affecting your financial world? Things like your retirement and your kids' college fund. You need someone who can help you work towards your goals. Someone to help you move forward in the times of change. Call Mindy Byer at Morgan Stanley. Mindy has 20 years of experience as a financial advisor, and she's right here in Northwest Indiana. To make an appointment with Mindy Byer, call 765-420-8433. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC.
Anders Water Conditioning in downtown Rensselaer is here for all of your water supplies and softening needs. At Anders, we sell and rent water softeners, water coolers, and have all of your bottled water and salt needs too. Call Chuck to set up your consultation today. 219-866-7430. Anders Water Conditioning, family owned since 1991.
Founded in 1931, Community State Bank in Brook is your community bank. We specialize in relationship banking while offering the technology required to meet your modern banking needs. Community State Bank is the area leader in new construction loans and home mortgages. Our lenders know small business and have products to meet your farm and business needs. We're available to get to know you and your needs today at 224 West Main in Brook or by calling 219-275-2441.
Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
All right, ready to wrap things up here. I'd like to thank all the coaches for coming in. Thank Beth and the gang here at Arnie's for feeding and providing drinks for the coaches. And all of our sponsors are making the show possible. And I'd like to thank Scotty Miller running the board and running the camera tonight. And Bill Kay. This is Bob Kurtz from Arnie's. We'll see you next week one more time here on the Coach's Cage on 3KG, thecage.com. Good night, everybody.
The proceeding was a presentation of 3KG Community Broadcasting.